Hello, everyone, and welcome to the newest podcast on the block. Joining me today are Tony.
Hi.
Also with me today are Quack CS.
All right, thank you for having me.
You got to say something, bro. Say hi to our
Hello, everyone. Cracking open the cold one on the ColdCast.
producer, and obviously joining us as well, Mr. TCS here.
Hello.
The handsome man himself.
Well, I think we have some latency issues with Coldy.
Get into the news that just dropped first with EG. Right?
Don't worry about me, I dropped out quickly.
Stanislaw took a temporary leave, and Daps is stepping in. This is the reverse cook we've all been waiting for.
The EG news. So that we're gonna start. We're gonna kick it off with the EG news.
Yep, that's how we're starting it.
That sounds like a lot of stuff to unpackage. I feel like as Stanislaw has already been under a lot of fire. You know, as an in-game leader, I feel like in the last year, and not even like North America, but in all of Counter-Strike, I feel like people have been looking at EG and saying, I mean, if you replaced Ethan and you replaced Tarek, and Stanislaw is the last piece of the puzzle not to have been replaced by now. What's going wrong? So he steps down, and now Daps is in. So
This is just the precursor for when Stanislaw cucks Daps' coach spot.
yeah, yeah.
The ultimate wraparound. You thought it was a rusty trombone. No, it's this. It's the coach cup that's coming.
Yeah, the good old switcheroo. So Quack, you've been pretty vocal, I feel like, before about Stanislaw.
I think Stanislaw has something a lot of NA IGLs don't have, which is some tactical depth.
Finally, it happened. I've been waiting
but that's
for
by
this
NA
move.
standards.
Stanislaw
By
is out
global
for now, at
standards,
least.
it's nothing. There's no tactical depth. The entire system was just built by Zeus, I think. And I just feel like Stanislaw has always been this sort of like weird character who he can sort of call, but not really. But he can't frag either. Like, he's all right with nades. Is that enough to keep someone on a team that aspires to be top 1 in the world? You're good with nades? No.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. Because especially when see, what happens is with Stanislaw, he likes to take the teams that are already built and then go a lot farther with them than they've been before, right?
You're right.
But I feel like with Daps, he builds rosters, and when you replace 2 of the most important players of your team with somebody like Miku, then you need someone like Daps to foster in that talent.
God. I mean, Blake.
Hold on, let's see if we can get a finished thought.
Coldy is unfortunately very, very far behind lagging, so we're gonna have to figure that out.
Guys, I think we should, if we hear him talking, just stop, wait for him to finish a sentence, then try and see what he's actually said, because
I can't put it together.
he's frozen. Okay, right. So I'm gonna just chime in here. I think you're very much underrating Stanislaw there in terms of fragging. He's never been bad. He's been like, for an IGL, good enough for years. It's just he's been on a downswing in this current lineup, and that's part of the reason why he's probably had to move. Gonna be honest.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, the idea that he just takes a built system and then implies it, I think is fair. It's fair. He's very good at then applying that system and getting a decent amount out of his teams. It's just, he's not a designer, is he?
Yeah, you'll see the teams that he takes so far, like Liquid, obviously, the Liquid lineup that had made it to, I believe they hit number 2. I don't think they ever hit number 1 with Stanislaw, if I'm not mistaken. And that team was together, that specific 5, for so very long. And then obviously NRG, he had built that team from the ground up, Daps, and then as soon as Stanislaw had come in, it was like, okay, all the roles are already in place, and I'm meant to fit into what's already been lost. So I think that's pretty much exactly what they're looking to do now, is to foster in Daps and maybe build that talent while Stanislaw isn't here.
They're losing to teams they probably should be beating if they want to be number 1 in the world.
Oh,
so
that's a full
think
sentence.
This move was very much needed.
Okay,
yes,
so
I took my camera off. Hopefully I should lag less.
Okay, respond to this question, Coldy. Now, respond.
What was the question?
Respond to which question?
There we go. She needed a response just to gauge the delay.
Oh, that wasn't that bad. That maybe
right.
the camera off is the way to go.
That's right. Nice.
Transatlantic production.
You said the move was needed though, and I don't think this is gonna be like a
permanent.
I actually don't think this is gonna be a good move. This is gonna be a disaster for EG right now. I don't think Daps can. Like, I love Daps, all right, and Daps is great. Daps is the Kerrigan of Canada, and and he'll always have a special place in my heart. But Daps is also not a good fragger. He might be a good caller. He's really good at building teams, but he's not a good fragger, like, by any means.
Yeah, he's far worse fragger than Stanislaw.
But I think that the issue with the team is not that they need more fragger in-game leader power. I think what they need is they look at players like Breezy, who are putting up terrible numbers, not very bad numbers for Breezy.
How long has that?
And then obviously Cirque doing the same. I think you just need somebody to like revitalize the team, less than call on it. You know what I mean? I think it needs a restructure more than
just like
a
replacing the IGL will just like reinvigorate the roster at least a little bit, because they can understand system so long. They finally brought Daps back in to coach for a little bit. I think
Daps will be great for the foundation.
It's gonna, like, it has to have at least a little bit of a positive effect on morale, for example.
Yeah, that's actually an interesting point. The way you could phrase that is that Daps is essentially a floor raiser here. This team has bottomed out, the floor's collapsed, there's no foundation to build off of, so they're going to try and essentially bring Daps in, raise the floor up to a point where you're not just dog shit anymore. Like, you know, where you can consistently beat certain teams, make quarterfinals, and then you can maybe bring in a Stanislaw, bring in someone else you can actually shoot heads and push for titles. But for now, build that foundation, bring in Daps, and then see where we progress from there.
Yeah, he can frag as terribly as he wants. He could get no kills a game, so long as he gets Breeze to start like doing his job and Cirque starting to post on angles, you know?
This team. And I am excited to see how it plays out, to be honest.
Here's the thing, though. Why can't he do that from a coach spot?
It's a lot more difficult to take reign of a server. This is why you'll see a lot of coaches and in-game leaders clash, because coaches like to take a little bit more of a hands-on stance.
Daps and Stan, they have
Zeus was
a
very
complicated
good explanation of changing how people think.
Really
So Stan and
listening
him
to what
clearly
Daps has to say. I mean, we all know how Stan has cucked Daps multiple times. I don't think Daps as a coach and Stan as an IGL would really work that well. I'm not sure there would be like that synergy needed between an IGL and their coach. I mean, take for example Glaive and Sonic. Like, you know, Glaive listens to Sonic and Sonic listens to Glaive. Does Stan listen to Daps and does Daps listen to Stan? I honestly don't think so.
I think Daps listens to Stan. I mean,
I don't think Stan would have brought on Daps as a coach.
Daps is a very nice guy. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think he would have agreed to even bring Daps into the team if he didn't, tolerate him. I mean, there's no way that the EG management just said, you know what, fuck you, Peter, we're bringing in Daps.
You know what's also very interesting is that they're two players who played together with one in-game leading the other at multiple times.
Well,
so at first it was Stanislaw in-game leading Daps. I'm sorry, Daps in-game leading Stanislaw.
As one should respect their coach. With the relationship, I don't see how that would happen, honestly. I mean, none of us know what's going on inside the team, but like from an outside perspective, that's just my take on that.
Okay.
It's not a point. I think short term, right, for EPL, I think EG are going to be fucked. No, for real. Like, I don't think this is a
Yeah.
horrible, horrible blow for them. Losing their IGL like a week or two before the event starts. That's like, it doesn't matter who the fuck you're bringing in. Like that's always a bad move. Like, if this was like 3 months ago, I would have said, don't bring Daps into the player slot. Get NBK or get MSL. Like, even just as a stand-in, that can always
MBK
be
is in
something.
Valorant, unfortunately, but
Yeah, exactly. That's why I meant it was 3 months ago. Now, I think bringing Daps in might be the best move they can make. But like, yeah, I don't know. And then there's also like, is anyone else just like weirded out by this phrasing by Stanislaw that he doesn't want all of this traveling when he hasn't, like, we've been in a pandemic. He hasn't been traveling
It's the
for a long
device
time.
excuse, isn't it?
No, yeah, it's just like, all right, so we've been in a pandemic and he hasn't been
Yeah.
traveling, but then he wants to stop traveling. It's like, okay, you traveled one time. Now, then we're going to go back to normal and he's going to be catching 2 planes a week. Like, I don't see how that is sustainable long term. I don't see, I don't see him coming back into that if that is his problem.
yeah, I agree. Yeah, especially now that things are going to keep kicking more and
reading
more
his
up into high
statement,
gear.
it seems like his mentality and his morale are just shot. Like, it seems like he's really down. And I mean, yeah, I definitely agree with you that it does not make sense because they are in a pandemic. They haven't been traveling that much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Could be a
actually
cop-out.
so true. Wow.
Just a burnout excuse, isn't it? Like,
Or it could be an excuse to set up
Could.
the big North American shuffle where Stanislaw,
Yeah, it
Tarek,
could.
Rush join Cloud9
definitely
and
could.
rebuild Optic.
wow.
It could be.
Speaking of garbage teams no one wants to watch. Jesus Christ.
Nav putting out that tweet earlier today saying that he misses representing the green wall. I think it's about to happen. I think they're on their
does
way
anyone
in.
have any more thoughts on Stan, EG, and Dabs, or are we ready to move on to the next topic?
No, it's a shit move. It's a shit move short term. Might be a shit move long term. Fuck it.
I'm with it.
Fuck it.
I think it'll work. I'm gonna be the one who's
Let's
different.
just see how it plays out, I guess.
Really? The NA guy wants the NA big shuffle to move.
Next up on the topic list,
What can I say? I'm a contrarian.
the Hunden drama,
Ooh,
which
Hunden.
is relatively
I actually
recent.
don't know anything about it. Literally, I know only that he shared strategies.
I'll let someone else
That's
start off
all
with
I
this.
know.
Yeah, that's essentially it. So, what we know is everything that's been spammed on Twitter. Essentially, is he's being accused by Heroic of sharing the strat book with other teams or other coaches, and then he's come out and said, well, he came out I think ahead of time saying no. Like before the official statement came out, he'd actually said no, I didn't share it because it'd been rumored a bunch.
Yeah, it came out ahead of time.
And now we've got a court case coming up. Hopefully, some open transcripts. We know what the hell actually went on, like what everyone says officially when what happened. But honestly, it's just hilarious.
Yep.
I honestly, I think like there's no way that he did this with malicious intent. Like there's no way you say, oh, I'm gonna leak my team strat book because fuck him. Like there's no way that ever happens. Like I think at this point he was probably, this is the scenario I see in front of me. He's in talks with Astralis and they're like, but what can you actually do? And he's like, well, I'll show you my strat book. And then it just turned like that's
It is his strat book though. That's honestly fair too.
but it's
Still
heroic
retarded.
Yeah,
It's
but
honestly
that's
fair.
that's one scenario. But the other scenario I see is so fucking dumb because this dude is like 30 plus, whatever the fuck. He's old. He's a boomer. And the way they talk about this strat book as being like some sort of folder of documents it sounds like a Google Drive folder. Dude was trying to share anti-strats, like he said, accidentally shared the entire folder, and Heroic just said, you know what the fuck, dude? This team have just seen all of our setups, what the fuck? And he's like, no, I only shared the anti-strats. And then that's my Danish accent, that's how I think Hunden talks.
Oh, it's better than mine.
Yeah. And that's the way I see it. Like there's absolutely, I don't think that there's any way something serious like legally can come out of this. Because
definitely not.
No, I mean, fuck it, it's CS. And apparently the team that actually received it didn't even read it, like according to what they said.
Wait, who
Can
was
we
supposed
also
to...
just take a actually no, never mind. We'll get to that later.
No?
Never mind. Continue.
Okay. Who was
just
supposed to have
realized
received
something.
it? Do we have any ideas? So, I mean, of course, we think Astralis because they were in talks with Hunden.
Oh,
allegedly.
surely it had to have been Astralis. Surely.
You think? I mean, if they say that they didn't read it in that case, we know Nicola Lyholm. They read it. They read it.
They definitely read it.
They saved it under heroic scrapbook bracket 1, and then went, oh look, unopened, and just deleted the file. No way they didn't read it. Just bollocks. All right, no further comments. Oh, we have lost our host. That's what happened. I think.
Oh, I hear him. He's talking.
Yeah, I hear him. I think it's just you.
I can't hear him.
All right, unlucky. To bring up his point, who hopefully the stream heard about Peter Hunden blocking access to the strat book once Heroic discovered that he had shared strats. I think that's just petty. That's just like, hey, you shared our strat book.
is not talking for them either, apparently.
Yeah, no, because it's my desktop.
It seems like
he's lagged out fully.
The ColdCast is just completely without him. So maybe we just carry the ColdCast for the day.
I just wish it was T who disappeared.
I don't see how.
It'd have been hilarious. It'd have been hilarious if it was me who just disappeared. But no, he's fully lagged out on my end, so I can't hear him at all.
That is unfortunate.
Big sad. Okay, so actually, something I did want to bring up. I was leaving some space to hear what someone else had to say, but then there was just dead silence. I was just awkwardly looking at my cam. Hunden's legacy right now, because remember, legacies aren't really based on what is real. We might find out he never leaked anything, but that doesn't matter because people won't remember that. They'll remember cheated, leaked a strat book.
They'll remember the big cheated thing. The cheated thing will go down.
Like those are the things he's gonna. Those are the things he's gonna remember for. He should be remembered as one of the guys who built the fucking ridiculous juggernaut that we have of Danish Counter-Strike, where there's like 50 million good players.
Yes.
Instead, he's going to be remembered for cheating, and now leaking. It's just
being old.
And being old.
And being old. Yeah.
Being old.
It's really unfortunate that this happened to Hunden and not Sonic. Because of the cheating thing. If this happened to Sonic, like imagine if this happened to Sonic and everyone would just be like, oh shit,
damn,
he's a boomer,
that would
folder.
Suck.
No, yeah, but everyone would just be like, yeah, okay, shed the wrong
off.
folder, it's just a boomer, whatever.
Yeah.
Now it happens to Hunden and everybody's like, I know what the fuck you did, motherfucker.
Yeah. I know what you did 10 years ago in Counter-Strike Global Offensive.
Yeah.
Everyone will remember him for his life. He's stamped. But I mean, on that same note, we may as well discuss the idea of Hunden joining Astralis over Zonic, who is supposedly leaving. Which I think in seeing as Astralis are going to be rebuilding anyway, supposedly, as of the last couple of days, I've been seeing more and more saying that it's just going to be Bubsky, Glaive, and Lucky, and then 2 more. I think that Hunden joining the team will actually be massive for them. I think it'll help them foster in whatever they need to get themselves going once again, because if you lose Magisk, Zipnix, and Dupree, that is going to be quite the rebuild needed.
Yeah, you need to keep them.
Yeah, I mean, I would, but supposedly they're not on the same page with that. So who do you get at that point? And Jesus, I don't really know.
I understand your confusion, but Tony is not Nikolai Nyholm. So unfortunately, he has no power over what moves Astralis do.
I unfortunately don't.
You sure?
Yeah, but I understand your confusion. It's alright. It's understandable.
He's got those Danish cheekbones. Like.
Yeah. You know, you never know where we come from, but like some crazy thing would be like, imagine like out of the woods, OG sells Valde and Miko. How absolutely absurd! That would be phenomenal.
Who's the team right now? It's Lucky, Glaive, and Essetag, right?
Bubsky.
No, Bubsky. Essetag went somewhere else. Sorry, my mind's.
Yeah. Later,
Bubsky,
soon.
But no. So that's 3. You only need to keep 2 of those other 3 guys. And Quack, that did fix it.
Well, no, yeah, I agree. I think that you should keep those other 2 from the team, but apparently they think they want to go different ways, whether that be the team or the players. But
So all three
Again,
gone. Oh, bloody hell.
Not confirmed, but
Not confirmed.
loosely rumored that it'll just be Glaive, Lucky, and Bubsky, and then they'll be adding another 2, yeah.
Can you imagine if they have to promote players from Astralis talent?
No, they
Could
won't.
you get a less
They
hyped
won't.
move right now?
All
Do
I'm
you
saying
think-
is that if they didn't promote their Opper from the talent team, they will not be promoting any of the other players from that team.
Yo, desperate
I
times.
absolutely promise. Call for desperate measures. Let's bring back Xiphon. That's the only player I would have ever put in this team from that academy roster, and he's already living large with Roy.
He's only on Copenhagen Flames. Like, he can't be that much.
No, dude. He's good.
None of it
I
can't
don't
be that
think
much to
Astralis
add
wanna
him. I didn't
swallow
say he's
their
not
pride.
good. I know he's good. I mean,
Oh,
I
too
don't,
much
I
to
don't think
buy.
Astralis would swallow their pride and get him back, honestly.
No, I don't think they would either. But they should get Roy. Roy supremacy.
Yeah.
Roy supremacy. I am a huge Roy fan. He's an entry fragger and has been a hard entry fragger for so long. And what he does is he just absolutely destroys on the entries. He's not a player who runs in and dies and then maybe gets 1 kill. He's a player who runs in, gets 2 kills, bomb sites theirs, and then closes out the round with another 2 kills. He is absolutely absurd.
Yeah. Yeah, especially on this team and the level of competition they face, he's been putting up stupid numbers. I mean, was it on Flames where he played at Flashpoint? Was that Flames?
Mad Lions?
Mad Lions, that's the one. There's too many Danish teams.
Yeah.
That's probably some of the best Counter-Strike I've seen him play at the highest level.
I agree.
Not quite the
I think
highest
that
level.
was some of the
pretty
best
good
Counter
level.
Strike I've seen at that level in a long time in general. Because keep in mind, at that point, if we're talking about the same team, it was Hunden's Mad Lions, with Bubsky and Acor and Shush and Roy, and then later on it was Asilions, but that did not have the same valor, I think, as the Hunden one. It was really interesting to watch them just come out heavy swinging with a team like that, because that's not a team that I would look at and see as a top 5, not even top 10 really team on paper at that
Especially
time.
not
And they
at the
just
time,
blew exactly, and they just blew me out of the water. So I think that Roy at this age, I think the only issue if you were like looking into it as Astralis for a hard entry, this would be a very short-term move really. Because he comes into this team and he makes space for these young players, and you have to really gamble on the fact that these young players are ready to use that space. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's my only thing with him, if we were to choose him.
I think I'm back. If you guys,
He
can
thinks
hear
he's
me.
back.
He's not
think
sure
I'm
though.
I think so as well.
I'm
Can you
not
hear
sure.
us?
Yeah, I can hear you. My line
Oh,
is
what?
fine. Yeah,
Oh.
There's no delay. Everything's
Hey,
working.
guys.
yeah, everything.
We did
We
it.
finally did it.
Okay.
All right. Only took us, what, 45 minutes? All right. All
Smashed
technical
it.
difficulties have been resolved.
Yeah, we could work
Finally.
for, I don't know. Which one's the one with all the delays? DreamHack?
Name any NA production real quick.
Dude, fucking Harry and Hugo. I'm gonna go on a tangent here. Sorry. Harry and fucking Hugo. I don't know where the fuck they're casting from. They're always on a half-second delay. Something happens.
It's really annoying.
Yeah, something happens. It's quiet. And then they react. They're like, whoa, that was fucking insane. They're annoying as is to begin with.
Maybe they're just
And
really stoned.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't
Just-
blame him.
Whoa, Harry.
He just got one tapped.
Digital green screen, dude.
Oh, God.
This
Oh,
has
God.
so many different options. Guys,
Speaking of
My
tangents.
living room. Check it out, my living room, guys.
Oh God.
Anyway, I'm just gonna blur the background. I like that the
Oh,
most.
shit.
That's probably the best way to be going about it. But while we're playing with
Host, get us back on
little,
track.
while we're going
Okay.
on Video Ninja, I think we may as well just move right back into where we were, and we'll have everyone pick 2 players. How about to pick to go to Astralis if we are to keep Glaive, Lucky, and Bubsky?
Okay.
I can go first if you would like to take a second to breathe and think.
Yes.
Because the 2 players
for
that
it.
I would personally be picking are first, I would honestly choose the players from OG if I had a choice, but that's very difficult. They fit very well in the place that you're putting them in. Nico and Dupree's role, Valde and Zipnix's, with maybe a little bit of changing maybe between Glaive and Zipnix's roles, but other than that, I think that they would fit perfectly fine. But seeing as that's a very hard thing to pull off, I feel like getting those 2 players in specific, I would definitely try and reach out to Roy and see what he has to offer and how he's feeling about himself. And then other than that, I guess you have to look at a player like Xiphon, or maybe like I think Kierby is still available, but I don't think Kierby is even remotely
Kirby kind of retired.
optionable for that. So I
Yeah.
would get Xiphon as my other player because I can't really think of anything else. Esatag just taken off the table, so
Yeah.
Mm.
You know what? I'm going for if Astralis whipped out their fucking big ass checkbook, if they even have any fucking money, I think it would be really interesting to see Config get poached from Complexity to fill in for Dupree's roles, because Config's just a fucking monster recently, honestly.
On
And
Mirage.
then for the fifth player, yeah, I could see Valde going in and doing well, but I could also see Nico from OG, and that would be, yeah, I think either of those two players could fill in the fifth slot very well, to be honest.
Role-wise, it
And
makes
then with
sense.
Config on the team, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say config as well. I was gonna say complexity and Astralis swapping something like Magisk and config. I don't think it would happen, but I would kind of like to see that happen. Like if Magisk is going out, he's probably going. Like I think he's probably going to complexity. Then it just makes sense.
It's a creative
Don't
solution
I-
to player swap. We don't really see that, so that's
yeah,
cool.
no, it happens in like other sports.
yeah.
Like a bit like I'm an F1 guy, and like all the time, like since there's a limited amount of seats, like drivers swap with each other. But like in CS, it doesn't really happen, which is weird because there's also a limited number of spots. Like you have
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Has that ever? How many times has that even ever happened? The only time I've ever remember that happening is when
Not many.
I think Kusta and JDM traded.
oh they might
Do you
have.
remember when Kusta and JDM traded from CLG to
Yeah, that could have
Liquid?
happened.
And then I remember that Hiko also traded with Stanislaw to OG for well, yeah, OG Optic Gaming for a little while. That was an accident, but
That's a long ass
yeah.
time ago.
I know.
Jesus,
Yeah.
your
I
memory
feel like
way better than mine. That spreadsheet coming in handy.
yeah, no, it really does. It really does come in handy every now and then. I promise. It's got its perks. But I mean, we may as well dance around the complexity topic since we're already here, and then we can just skim over it later on. We
Yeah.
have Rush gone, Esatag in, Kita gone, Peacemaker in, and maybe even more moves to come, as we've already said. So, I mean, how do you feel about the lineup as it is? And then how do you feel about where they could go with it from here on?
Actually, I don't know about the whole. Esatag's got this notion in his head that he's an entry, right? That he's going to play Rush's roles. And we saw him do it on Cloud9 as well. And it's like, technically, he's not bad at it, like, not terrible at it. I just feel like it's always a waste of him and what he could be doing. Because he is so incredibly good mid to late round that feels like a waste to just have him smash his face in and dive at the expense of like who at the benefit of anyone else really. I really like him mid to late round, so I don't like that play. I don't like the position he puts himself in. But the key to entry fragging always has been willingness. That's why Freakazoid was pretty good at it. He wasn't good. He just literally
He was just a
no
meathead who
fear.
threw himself at a wall, right? Yeah.
Exactly, just smashed his face in there. So it's not a bad move in terms of play, probably, but I think it's a waste of S-Attack.
Yeah. I
I
agree.
mean, the way I see this, I don't think it's like addressing like the issue that complexity has. I mean, they kind of did the like classic remove the player with the lowest stats. And I mean, if you like hear what everyone who's played with Rush has to say, they only have good things to say about him. Like I don't think removing him was needed, right? Like, all right. So first off, in this like day and age, a good opper is really essential. And ever since Poison had his health problems and he's back, I mean, he's not doing horrible, but like, I feel like he used to be a lot better. Like, I feel like he's in a bit of a slump right now. And if he can get out of that, then I think that would definitely help. But also, JKS and Blame F, like, it seems like they kind of want to do the same thing. And
In a way,
I'm not sure. Yeah, like, I'm not sure if that's helping the team. I mean, JKS was brought in like with a like crazy high salary, and he was supposed to be like one of the stars, if I like remember correctly. And he's just not really doing that. And then also their like style, like it seems like they're like it's really telegraphed sometimes, right? And the one move that I did like was Peacemaker coming in for Keita, because Peacemaker's like a guy who like he has his way of seeing things, and like I think that perspective from him could really help them improve. But I think it also doesn't address some of the other issues that are in the team, personally.
Yeah, I think I agree that I think removing Rush is not the solution. it's probably just going to make the team worse. Honestly, I think Rush is better than S-Tag at what he does. I think Rush was just a scapegoat. Like, we need to do something. Let's just remove Rush. The only way I see this move, like as you say, Poison, JKS, they're bigger problems on this team, and the only way I see this move working out is if the synergy between BlameF, S-Tag, Config, and Peacemaker is somehow enough to carry the team to like some decent results. Like, Poison might be not the greatest, but like he's still above 1.0 most of the time, which is fine. I mean, if you have BlameF, Config putting up 1.3s, then you have S-Tag, actually being good, and then you have Peacemaker who's working with those 3 Danes. It doesn't really matter what the fuck JKS and Poison do as long as they're decent, which they are. Like,
theoretically.
Yeah, I mean, this team is never going to be top 1, but like it can definitely be top 10. It can definitely make playoffs if this synergy works out. Because Peacemaker, I think the only reason Peacemaker is being brought in is because S-Tag is being brought in, and the BlameF, S-Tag, Peacemaker trio was a thing in the past on Heroic, which worked well. Then just throw Config into that Danish bunch, and then just like carry JKS and Poison along for the ride. That's the way I see this working out. But I don't think it will.
Listen, I'm as big as a BlameF fan as the next guy, and I think the Config's really been pulling his weight in these last couple of months, in this last year even in complexity throughout the whole thing. I really didn't think that he was going to be the player to really revitalize his career at the point he was at. Honest and truthfully, I really wasn't feeling what he had to offer after he left, like, what was it, Optic, I think, to come to complexity. So, and then now I see this team and I see S-Tag, and he obviously showed that even under pressure in a bad situation, he can show the best of his abilities with that Cloud9 scenario. I think that's fair to say that he showed his best self as he could possibly have. And I think that if you're looking at the team right now, if it were to stay the same, I think it's definitely going to take a lot of work and effort with a new coach coming in that could be a worthwhile thing. But I think that Magisk for JKS right now would just be absolutely phenomenal. I think that would be absolutely what they need to pull this team together, because I think that Magisk is much more willing to conform to a system. And I think that BlameF is going to use that to his all advantage, because then S-Tag can be that late round player. You can have Magisk be that player who maybe just throws away his life, but is so good at the game that he doesn't have to be the late round player anymore, because he can open up your bomb sites for you. Maybe even not as a hard entry. Him and Config just alternating one off another, right? But I think Magisk would be beautiful.
Let me pose you a counter question though. Who opts on that team? Because I don't think you can have 4 Danes and Poison. I don't think that's going to work ever.
Why not?
To be honest, you might as well replace him with any like average Danish guy who's actually an AWP at that point and speak Danish. You've gone too far Danish, I think, at that point, to not have 5 Danes.
All right. My point being that I don't think there has like ever been a full Danish team except for one guy that actually worked. Or like anything.
I don't think that's ever happened really in general to say that it hasn't worked.
No,
sorry.
right.
I just saw something that I have to address. S-Tag can AWP. No, he should not. He really can't. Please never suggest that again. Cloud9 flashbacks getting more and more intense by the second.
No, you're right. It might work, but like every time you have all of one nationality who speak different native languages, or like the same native language, and then you have one guy who's like so odd one out that they all speak English.
I don't think it would be that big of a deal.
Oh, Smooya, yeah. But did that work out? No.
Xantares worked out, but Xantares is a lot more...
No, Xantares didn't work out. He's not on the team anymore.
Not anymore, but he worked out for like 2 years or something ridiculous. Like,
yeah, but it worked out for like 2 years.
Hold on, scrap that. Don't get Magisk. Keep JKS, get Smooya. Never mind, that's the team.
Don't solve the JKS BlameF issue. Fuck it, just bring in Smooya. That'll help chemistry no end.
Config, JKS, Smooya. Oh my god.
You brought up a point though, like just get any Danish guy who can off, and I just realized Mertz is transfer listed.
That'd be sick. I pick. That.
Yeah, like Mertz isn't a like device kind of operator. Like he's not never gonna be like a top 5
he doesn't
player.
perform on LAN. That's true.
Yeah.
But like when you have BlameF, Config, kicking ass, you have S-Tag, being S-Tag, and then
you have fucking Magisk on there as well.
Magisk,
yeah, that's the one.
Okay,
you have
that
like
would be a fucking
solid riflers, and then S-Tag throwing nades and shit or whatever the fuck he does. then you could have fucking AZ opping. Like it doesn't matter.
Who are these people in chat saying that Smooya can only op in tier 3 and that Mertz doesn't perform?
I mean, they're right on the second point.
Who are these people? Where have you been? What the Counter-Strike have you been watching?
Mertz would even be top 5 player in complexity.
People talk shit about Smooya are full of it. Smooya performs. He talks a lot of shit, and he's probably a massive twat, but he performs under pressure. Mertz,
but he's absolutely a phenomenal opper. Like, there's nothing you can say about that.
No one's saying Smooya's not great, just Mertz isn't.
Right, yeah.
I'm sorry. I refuse to cede that point. Mertz is not a good one.
Yeah, you guys are just fucking soft. Just take it. He talks shit. That's how he is.
I'm not saying I have a problem with that. I'm just saying it's a problem for teams, isn't it?
Right now.
Oh, no, absolutely, yeah. But I think that honestly, I would go with that Mertz Magisk config blame F S-Tag lineup. That'd be the one I go with.
Banger,
so I guess we can I guess from there we can move on from complexity. And I mean, we're still on Danish stuff, so I mean, we may as well bang out the last Danish piece that we have, right? Maybe.
Which is
MSL's new team.
Ooh.
That's our last piece we have to bang out there.
Yeah, that is the last piece.
So we may as well get it going. I mean, I'm already this deep in. It's the Tony cast now.
Right,
go nuts.
Rip it. So, so we got the obvious rumors that Nordavin are looking to pick up MSL's new roster, which is currently only confirmed. I say confirmed, but it's all rumor. That MSL and AZ are the two that are slated to be with that team, and the last 3 are yet to be announced. So, assuming that he's not able to scrounge enough players from Denmark together, which is probably the case, he needs 3 more players to pick up. Who does he pick up?
Fuck, I'll go first. All right, I think the one I've put is literally just it's fucking Hyenas 2.0. I've put MSL, AC, Fesser, Borup, and Mertz. Because this was before I thought about complexity Mertz. I think MSL has said time and time again he doesn't need to op like on a new team. He can just IGL and rifle.
Yeah.
And then you got Borup there. Borup is a good support player. Fesser. What was that laugh?
Sorry, got 2 people in chat just suggested Yugi.
Oh. All right.
Back to back.
Oh no! All right. Then you have Fesser. Fesser played well on Hyenas. I don't think there's any argument that like Fesser increased his stock as a player on Hyenas. He played decently.
No, I'm a fan.
Yeah. And then just AZ, entry fragging, being hot and everything. And then you have Mertz, also just being hot and just like opping.
So you're going for a pretty boy team, like.
Yes, and MSL.
Yeah. Hairline aside,
I'll throw my hat in the ring. I went for a different route just because there's a player that I'm dying to see back. Dying to see. He's been out for a little too long. MSL, AZ, and then I would get Knock as my opper because Knock needs to be somewhere, and I don't think that he's worth more than his stock in all of Sweden, other than the teams that he can't join, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I changed my mind. Remove Mertz, add Knock. I like that.
I would be throwing Knock into this team. I'd be throwing Grux into this team from the current Lemon Dogs lineup.
That's not a real team though, so it's
really
fine.
Get a fair chance. In North, I thought he showed a lot more than his stock was really worth, and no one really took notice of it. So I think it's a little unfair to him. And then for my 5th player, I would also pick Fesser. I would pick Fesser as well.
Okay.
All right.
And then from there, I think that they have to just. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I think that from there they would need to show themselves as a very fundamental team, and then go for a big baller pickup as a rifler, a superstar, absolute massive. Like we show them we can do what we can do. Here's what we have to offer, and then how like Torsi is picked up for the Mouse Academy thing, something like that. Like they just pick somebody up who's in a bad situation, who they know they can pull out more, and then right into that squad.
I'm actually going for the non-Danish lineup here. I'm going for the international one.
Yes.
So MSL AC, and then I'll put Borup in there. You can have a Danish-like core. Borup's a good support. I like seeing him in Heroic. But then for the last 2 players, I would go with either for the op, I think Knock would be a very good option.
Yeah.
But I think it would be very interesting if MSL could pull Kenny S out of his slump if Kenny S wants to keep playing CS. And then for the 5th player, your rifler, I'm inserting an A here. I'm going with Floppy.
Jesus Christ.
Because it's rumored he's coming back to CS. I don't know what kind of monstrosity that team would be, but I want to see it.
What the fuck? No, that's nuts. I like that.
Yeah, of course Quack likes the nuts one. Quack's a huge fan of the insane.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not completely against that. I think T, you're the last one who has anything to
Yeah.
say about this.
Yeah, I mean, I've been
Let's see what
I've
you've
been
got.
slowly
Is your migraine
salvaging.
okay?
Oh, fuck me, man. Right. So I'm gonna keep it simple. Now, first things first. NATO
Pick up
suffix.
simple.
NATO
I think
suffix.
so, yeah.
Because sure, he's a stand-in god, but he's also actually a pretty good AWPer. And then after that, I think keep it simple. 2 Danish guys. Pretty much, they're not free agents, but they're cheap. Relatively cheap. I take Fessor, I take Borup. I love Borup's aim. I like Fessor's explosiveness.
That's good.
And yeah, I think that combo is pretty decent in terms of fragging. And then you just need MSL and AZ to just do all the glue work, do all the figuring out. I mean, Borup can play support roles if AZ wants to be something special, but he doesn't need to be. This team could work with just these 5 guys and then MSL brainstorming. I think this could be a good team.
So let me get this straight real quick. NATO Sapphics, MSL, AZ, Fesser, and Borup for T.
Yep.
Myself, I had gone for MSL, AZ, Knock, Fesser, and Grux. Quack had gone for MSL, AZ, Fesser, Borup.
I changed it to Knock. It's Knock now, not Mertz.
Okay, so that's your 5th.
Yeah,
and
fuck
then
nerds.
Coldy, and what did you go with again?
I just went with the fucking insane fucking
Just
Bora,
call it the Crystal
Kenny
Meth
Astronaut,
Squad.
and Floppy.
So it was MSL, AZ, Borup, Kenny S, and Floppy.
Kenny
so-
Astronaut.
So the middle
Because
ground
Kenny
for all of
Astronaut
us, for the most part, is Fesser.
Okay.
I think Fesser is the one who deserves another chance, basically, is what we're all basically agreeing on. Borup,
100%.
for the most part, we also agree definitely deserves at least one more chance in that support role that he's done very well with. And then
Great
for the
entry,
op
great
role, we're
flash
kind of
thrower.
just
Knock.
yes.
Yeah.
And then for the op role, we're kind of just tossing it up between Knock, NATO, Kenny S. And then for that 5th spot, I had Grux, Floppy for Coldy, which is an interesting pick. Not a bad pick, but a very interesting pick for Floppy. And then I believe it was just then Fesser for that 5th
Yeah.
rifle spot. So pretty much all in agreement for that. I think that was a lot of fun. We got a good little talk out of that, and we can move on to what we had earlier planned, but had to jump over really quickly, and that will be the We Play Academy that had just concluded its regular season, and we're getting into the final of the season, which will be 4 teams who qualified. I just need to see who those teams are real fast.
Yeah, it literally finished
It was
like
Mouse next, Young Ninjas, Big Academy, and then Navi Junior and Fnatic were doing it.
No,
Fnatic
it's
won.
faster.
They just
They
finished
just
playing.
won a
Yeah.
couple of minutes ago.
Yeah.
Oh, they
Fnatic
won.
So
guys,
Oh,
yeah.
before we get to anything else about that, I would just like to point out that out of the 4 teams, none of those teams are Monsi's team, and he had a 1.64 rating over 18 maps.
Now you see, here's
That's-
where we
He's
pull out
just
the
fucking
NBA
insane.
Twitter analysis. Empty stats. Empty stats. Worthless player. Dog. Only good on bad teams.
That-
Could never translate to playing winning Counter-Strike. Clearly the problem. Clearly Munzi is the problem. Anyway, back to the real world.
That statistic is absurd to see. As an AWPer especially, I feel like you'll see good numbers put up, but 0.4 above the next closest player to you is
That's absurd. Isn't it?
out of this world. Absolutely absurd. And
So
I think it's even
absurd.
more absurd that Navi Junior are only the highest rated team, tied with Young Ninjas at 1.14 out of statistics in the entire event. Absurd.
Yeah. Yeah, the problem is there's 3 guys on that team who really don't pull their weight. Like,
Yeah.
Onkir is
Cynics-
also a really good player. Like, I think he has potential in the future to be sold on for a big profit because he's
Oh,
not
for sure.
needed right now. But no, the other 3, Cynics, Poglarov, and Fear, is that the other guy?
Fear is
Yes.
alright.
Yeah.
Fear at 1.08 this event.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
like alright.
He's put up an all right number. I'll give him that. But the other 2,
He did what he could.
the other 2, it's not just stats. I'm talking eye test when you watch them play. The other 2,
There's actually another 3 because they had a sub come in. It was
They did have a
Hetrick,
sub, yeah.
Pogor, I don't know how to say the rest, and then Cynics. And they're
Poglarov.
all
Poglarov.
not very good.
Yeah, they've had some
No.
sucky anchoring players, essentially just dragging them down. I don't mean anchoring
Yeah.
role, I mean literally just stopping the ship from moving
Edward.
forward. Yeah, they have Edwards.
Edward, yeah.
Edward
17-year-old Edwards.
and Flame, yes, the young Navi.
Yeah, literally. It's just a mirror effect. But I think that the highlight of all that is that should there ever be another AWP player needed in all of CIS, Monsi will be the first to be called, undoubtedly, in my brain.
Yeah,
I
whenever
don't
that
think that they
happens.
can look at anybody else. Yes, whenever Simple dies, whenever Yame dies, whenever
When
these
Virtus
people
Pro
just
get a
decide
different
they,
IGL and then they drop
Yeah.
James because they won't need him anymore, they'll pick up Muncie.
Yeah.
They'll pay like $2, maybe $3 million, whatever that is in rubles. 'Cause it's a worthless currency. It's like 50 trillion or something, and then that'll be a nuts deal. Again,
What is it with CIS and operas? Because I mean, you've got fucking Simple, you've got Shiro, you've got Chain, you've got Monacy. Like these guys are all insane. Like, what the fuck is going on? What are they feeding?
they're one
them
of the
all this-
few regions producing talents for one, because in
Oh, yeah.
in east, the further east you go in Europe, the more relevant Counter Strike is. Because in France, in the UK, we're not picking up new players at a much of a rate. Let's be honest. The youth of the Western European nations are not playing Counter Strike really, but over there they still are. And plus, the style of play they've like sort of instituted is based around building off your AWPer, getting him opening picks, but then at the same time making sure he has an AWP round after round after round so he can be effective. And that's just manifesting now because you've got these great IGLs playing great Counter Strike with AWPers who are trained from far younger than everyone else is. So I think it just makes sense that they are the best AWPing region right now.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
one thing that I see CIS region is missing in terms of talent, because they've got fucking insane operators, insane aimers, like for example Bit. But the thing I see them lacking in is IGLs. Like there's not really many. I mean, you had Zeus back in the day, and right now I guess fucking Nafni. He's doing a really good job. But for example, Boomage, I don't see him as a like tactical mastermind, like super IGL. And then like Jame, I mean, he's good, but he's not like Denmark has fucking so many IGLs, like it's insane. But then CIS basically has like three good ones.
That's the thing with the CIS. I think they don't have that many IGLs that we think of in the same way, because a lot of them we call them like Boomich or like Jame, not geniuses, not tactical masterminds, because they are playing to a meta essentially. I mean, Boomich has just implemented Blade's system and the systems that were there before him with Zeus, and kind of just carried it on. And Jame is the most extreme, like, example of that CIS AWPer meta. So I get why it feels like there's not that much in-game leading talent. I just don't think they need it for a little while. We'll see in 2 years if anyone's news popped up. But for now, every team seems to have one, and every team seems fairly content with them. So there's not too much to complain about. Everyone loves to hate on Boomich. I don't think Na'Vi are going to cut him anytime soon. So I don't think there's that much of a problem in the CIS.
I want to say, all right, I've been probably the biggest Boomage hater for the past 1.5 years. But like in Cologne, the way they've swapped up their setup, which is thanks to Bit, by the way, thanks to Bit coming in, I think Boomage works.
Bit.
Why has there always been this notion that Boomage was a fragging IGL when he never did? Like, so there was always this like, oh, Boomage, he's a fragging IGL, he's so good, and then they always put him into the good positions where he couldn't perform. Now, like, he's taking a backseat to Bit, and you have this. Normally in a normal team, you have 3 players playing like the impact positions, the multi-kill positions, and in this team, you can now use simple Bit and Electronic for that, which is great. Before, one of those spots had to be Boomage, which just it puts a dampener on the entire thing. Now Boomage is finally like playing anchor roles. He's playing more of a supportive right flank spot, and his stats are still shit, sure, but Bit stats are good, and overall the team is better. And that's fine. Now it's fine. Now I think, all right, Boomage can focus on like improving his calls. There's not this pressure to perform anymore. Because remember, Boomage didn't really call like for real before he joined Na'Vi. Like not really.
I know he was famous. The reason I think he got that tag, quickly, is because he was essentially just a fragger on other teams. Like he wasn't a tactician.
Well, no. What he was doing was he was in-game leading on win streak in the major that they had come out heavy hitting, with that team of Quick, Norbert, World Edit, and Waylander. And especially when they had that QB Fire, lineup, that was when he wasn't in-game leading and he was showing that he could frag. And then he began in-game leading on the team as soon as he had to, and he had been doing that for quite a while actually. Because if you'll remember, they replaced. Actually, here's another example of doing the good old switcheroo. Edward and Boomich traded places, and Edward tried his hand at calling in Winstrike, which obviously didn't go too very well. But yeah, that was a classic example of that. And I think what they wanted to do was, I think they wanted to put him into the team to sit under Zeus, obviously, because he wasn't in game leading at the beginning. He didn't join in place of Zeus. Zeus was still there. And then over time, Zeus kind of just phased out of the team and Boomich started to phase in. So I think that they wanted to kind of find him a good place to sit in the team in terms of position before calling him a fragging in-game leader and then seeing it all go to shit because he can't in-game lead from the front lines. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
While
So-
we're on the Navi topic, I just want to say, finding like bit for Flamey is like deep long-term upgrade like I've seen a team like have in a while.
Right.
I mean, Flamey was like fulfilling his contractual obligations, have one good game out of 10 so that you don't get dropped, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But then Bit comes in, and at the beginning he was only playing, I think, Inferno, and it was kind of to like put some pressure on Flamey, like, hey, we got this new talent, he could replace you if you don't like step it up. And at the beginning, I remember seeing him in the webcam, like he would have like his fucking like notepad with all the notes on like what he was supposed to be doing and stuff. I mean, he wasn't doing very well, but I mean, he was new, he's young, he's playing with a fucking legend, and playing with Simple is never easy because you kind of have to like play around him and adapt to whatever the fuck he wants to do. But as he got more experience, I mean, he's just fucking insane.
He's just
Like,
blowing shit out of the water. I don't even understand where he came. I didn't think he was that good when I first saw him. I thought he was a pretty average player. I thought he would have just been just as bad as Flamey, if not worse, for a certain amount of time. But he came into this team and he's banging ass. So I mean, good for him.
Yeah, I think during Cologne, Bit convinced me that I think he has the best raw aim, like, period.
Ever?
Yeah, I want to say
I mean,
ever. I have
yeah.
the stats to back it up as well. He has the highest all-time headshot percentage out of anyone. He's beaten Scream. He's beaten Twists.
the
He's
one
beaten
What?
Stanji and Borup and whoever else fuck actually frags. Hiko, I think, had good headshots. He's top of the list, man.
yeah, he's just an insane aimer, and not only the stats, but the eye test back it up. If you see him play, like you can just see how insane he and his aim are. Like, it's not just stats. Like, he's fucking ridiculous, honestly.
Yeah, no, Bit is legit. Bit is legit. I think when he got signed initially, my feeling was I never had this problem where I thought he was average. I had a problem where I thought, will he be able to step up into this team? Because it's Na'Vi. It's the legacy org of the CIS. It's the biggest name who have signed the biggest names possible. Will he be able to perform? Like, put on LAN, put into these big moments. And it's taken him a little while to, firstly get slotted in and then to really be up to speed. But now we saw him unleashed, like at his fullest, and he was ridiculous, and the team looked amazing. So I think Na'Vi now are the front runners for like every tournament they go to, and it's a question of can Electronic and Bit, as the two of them, keep up this level. If only one does, I don't think they're going to be as dominant, as successful. But if both keep up a very high level, I don't see who beats them.
Yeah.
Honestly.
All right, I think we've talked enough about Na'Vi. Should we get into the We Play Academy League? Because that's we got kind of deviated a bit.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah. So
Alright,
we'd established
uh,
who's gone through,
what if-
right? That's what we've got so far.
Yes.
Yeah. One of the topics that I saw like stir up a decent bit of controversy was whether it should be held in the player break or not. And
yeah.
personally, I think it's fine because like, look, these kids are young. Like, they've got the like mental resilience if they get like immediately signed and have to play like a year or whatever the fuck it is without a break. And
I'm not
the
sure about
rest of their
resilience, but
career, they're gonna
stamina,
have to
sure.
break.
Stamina, yeah.
Yeah, stamina.
Yeah.
They're gonna have the rest of their careers with break, right? And then another thing that I think is really positive is like normally when these like academy teams are playing, they're like playing in like Sweet Snow and like all those smaller like tournaments and shit. But since there's not really much going on during the player break, like I think it allowed more people to like pay attention to them. Because I mean, not really anyone else is playing right now, so just getting more eyes on them, I think, is a good thing. And like, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I saw some people that were like really angry about it, like, oh, how
Yeah,
how
I
can you
didn't.
force them to like not have a break? Like,
I didn't see any of that outrage, but I think it's kind of stupid too. I don't think that there's any reason
I
why it
saw it.
shouldn't
Don't
be
worry. I
held
saw
here.
some of it on Twitter. There was some people
Yeah.
complaining. Some people saying that this is ridiculous. What if they then have to play a full year? Which I found a bit silly because it's like 2 weeks of games, and then they play
Yeah,
1 year.
really.
Like we're not asking them to skip every player break for the rest of the time. And it's half these teams have been on player break. Yeah, Laggy. Some people cough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They've been,
Lag-
most of them exist in a perpetual
Boo-hoo.
state of player break. Like some of these
Boo, they have
players
to play
have played.
half an ESCA season, man. Like,
They've
come
played
on.
literally nothing all year. Then they come in there to play in this player break. It's not that big a deal. I really don't see it as a
Yeah.
big deal. And
Isn't this like? Isn't this like the first player break ever where teams actually stop playing? Like Tier 2 CS always goes on through the player break, like up until now. You always see stuff like Gamer Legion. Like Gamer Legion get like 1 week of break in the middle.
Mhm.
It's just
I
like
mean, like what I've seen is like in South America, people are still playing through it. Like 9C, I think, has a game today versus Furious. So like it's
Yeah.
not that like everyone is stopped. Like yeah, you're right. The majority of like Tier 2 and EU CS is like stopped. Yeah, you're right.
I was gonna say something though about Brazil. I think most of those teams, they're probably amateur enough where like the CSPPA thing doesn't apply because the player break is a CSPPA thing. But that brings up another interesting thing because I think all of the academy teams in this event are academies to orgs that are like they should by definition be professionals, which means this player break should apply to them by the CSPPA. I think the CSPPA would be pissed that this event is being held during the player break.
sure,
I mean,
but I don't think it's
you're acting
reasonable.
like the CSPPA has actually like really done anything.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, that's a fair point. But look, if the CSPPA, I don't think the CSPPA wouldn't be mad though, because at the end of the day, the idea that these teams are academy teams is supposed to separate them from the top team, from the the main team. So I don't really think they would have a problem with it if they were actually in proper talks and had proper like rules set out for what the main team can do, and then therefore by extension what the academy team, like how they should be treated, how they should be handled. Because there is going to be differences. Like your academy team is going to be full of 15-year-olds. If you're putting in contracts and legally binding agreements, it's going to have to be negotiated differently for them. So I don't think at the end of the day you would have had a big issue with them playing in the player break, when in reality these guys play like some of these guys have played like 30 maps before this event in the entire year.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay,
Good. I'm glad we all agree then.
good. I was really ready to have an argument with someone, but damn it, why'd you have to be so reasonable?
No. All right. Do we want to talk? Do we want to talk about I am Clone?
Want to?
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, we can talk about Cologne. We can definitely talk about Cologne a little bit here. We've got a little bit since it's ended. It ended in earlier July, and we're about a month deep now since or a little less than a month now. And Not as Vincere obviously taking that one over G2 in the final. I think we saw FaZe. I think we need to speak about FaZe first, seeing as we already talked about Navi, that they made a phenomenal run with Olaf Meister to place top 4.
Olaf Meister not washed, confirmed.
Not washed, confirmed.
Carolyn.
Nah.
Yeah. As a FaZe fan, I was just in constant pain because they weren't like they had like a really shit like win rate. Like what was it? Was it like 13%? Like games won. It was abysmal, and it wasn't like they were blowouts. Like it was always a fucking 2-1. They were losing maps like 16-14, 16-13, and like it just seemed like almost like they just couldn't like push it over the top. And I mean, they were like they always had the potential to beat the other team. Like I remember an online game where they only like lost to Navi because they really fucked up an anti-eco round and they just got like smashed. And like it always looked like they were good, but they just couldn't like push it over the limit. And now in Cologne, I think we finally saw like what this team can be.
Okay.
I think I want to like the big game they won was the Gambit game. I think they had a fairly easy bracket in the play-in. It wasn't the easiest, but like they had a fairly easy way in the play-in into the event.
If my memory serves me correctly, the play-in, I don't think most of the teams we consider significant had a particularly tough play-in.
I think that
Oh,
FaZe
yeah.
only had to play. No, they played EG and then they won, which is good. That's a pretty easy win at that point, seeing how they're restructuring now. And then they played Complexity and they absolutely smashed Complexity. They absolutely hammered.
Yes, that was
Complexity
it.
also restructuring. That was like one of Russia's last games. So.
To be fair, on paper, without knowing that behind the scenes stuff, it seems like a pretty tough run considering
That's a
you
pretty
could have
good win.
faced Sprout. Like that's not a
Really,
bad
you could
win.
have played like Team One.
Yeah,
Or
like
Vici, like some
like
pure
FaZe-
dog.
Yeah.
FaZe has lost against Sprout before.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, we
a
know,
2-1.
but
Well, we know, dude. We know.
they suck. They have sucked at various points. Just saying, like relative to the level of other teams that were in the play-in, this looked
Right.
like a tough opponent. But
Over the course of the event, playing included, they beat EG, Complexity, Spirit, Vitality, Heroic, and Gambit, and they only lost to Astralis and Navi, which is impressive.
Very impressive.
Beating Complexity, EG, and Spirit, not it's not the most difficult thing. Beating
Spirit are
Heroic,
good.
as we know now, without Hunden, also.
I'm personally very excited they beat Spirit. I
Yeah,
thought
I think
Spirit
Spirit's a
fucking
solid team.
slap.
No, I think Spirit gets less credit than they deserve.
They're solid, but I would
agree.
say they're like around about that like Complexity EG range. That's what I would say.
Yeah, like
Then beating Heroic are like sort of online-y. and Vitality are fucked right now. So like Gambit is the big win for these guys. But
Obviously,
honestly, I noticed this before the game, and I think it was like the main reason they actually won. Kerrigan managed to like hammer home this point that we have no pressure. We've overperformed. We shouldn't be here. It doesn't matter if we lose. And the pressure is on Gambit. They're onliners. This is the first time they have LAN pressure. Like he just
Liners, they are
Liners.
Yeah.
I know. I think
Oh my god.
he said it so many times in so many different interviews. And like Hobbit, like it even got to Hobbit's head. Hobbit was like, "Oh yeah, we need to prove ourselves on LAN. It's going to be very hard versus FaZe. They are good on LAN." And it's like,
Quack,
okay,
Quack, the real question we have to ask you: how hyped are you for Olaf Meister's return?
Are you hyped at all?
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, everyone has to be over. I like a bit hype about Olaf. Olaf is always hype. Olaf is always nice. But like, it's not gonna last. It's like this entire FaZe squad already seems like a short-term team that was supposed to be put together, work for a year, and then just die. And then like, Coldzera was one of the guys who could like probably go on for another 2 or 3 years. Like once they
Instead, he died after
again.
1 week and has never been alive again.
Yeah, instead he died after 1 week, and they're bringing a
He
fucking
read the memo
fossil.
wrong.
Like Olaf Meister is good. He's always gonna be pretty good. He's never gonna be a world beater again. Like never.
No.
There's no way.
Yeah, he's
Sure
never
did
gonna
look
be
like one, though.
2015 Olaf
See,
again.
here's how I
Sadly.
feel about this phase. I think that this phase that we saw was the culmination of Twist finding his element. Finally finding his place as a star rifler, a player who can take any fight, and he knows any fight that he'll take in a rifle battle, he can win. There's no doubt about that in my opinion, that Twist can win any gun battle he's in. Brokey on the AWP finding his form on both T and CT side, which we've seen very few times in my opinion, where Brokey just takes control of a map on T side, which is something phenomenal for a player his age especially. And then I
still
think that
18,
what we
yeah.
saw was just Kerrigan finally putting to good use his ability to call in a team that's makeshift, a team that doesn't really have everything figured out, a team that needs to start to figure things out. Kerrigan's very good, obviously, as we know, putting together these teams in terms of just actually making them fit like puzzle pieces, right? And he's starting to do that. And I think that they're one roster change away from making this team a top 5 team consistently. And
Which
I
is removing
honestly,
Olaf.
but the problem with me is that I don't know if Olaf is the one that you remove. I think you need to remove Rain.
Why not both?
Okay,
Or both.
Tony,
The
I don't want to
real
get into
quick-
this too much. This idea you're bringing up, because there might be I might have answered some of the questions you have, because I think you had an idea to bring in Fang and OC. If I'm not very much mistaken. Not too long
I
ago.
did say
What?
that.
And I have
But that
spent
was
a good 5 minutes tirading
no,
about
no,
that.
no.
I don't wanna do it again.
A good 5-minute what?
Not necessarily complaining about certain aspects of that move, but let's just say criticizing it. And I don't want to do it again. Yeah, your Fang and OC idea. I didn't like one part of it.
Really?
Yeah, I don't rate OC.
But why? Oh, you don't rate OC. See,
No.
well, now that Brokey's doing well in the op, I wouldn't pick up an opper.
Okay, good. You've repented your sins. Okay.
I've repented my sins, but not thinking good about OC. I think you're the problem. I think you really need to turn around your ideals if you don't think OC is
Yuki
very good.
2.0.
Because OC, Nuki. All right, moving on. We're moving on. Before I freak out, we're about to do a Sponge rant. We finally found the trigger. I think, guys. Whoever was talking about it in chat, I think we found it.
Just
I
roasting
want
OC.
to add to what Quack said real quick about Kerrigan. I think Kerrigan just put on a masterclass in psychology on IEM Cologne. Like
got
the
a master.
interviews he did, talking about the fucking pressure. Like you can tell he got into fucking into Gambit's heads, and then Kerrigan calling on LAN, like it was competitive for the first 2 maps. I mean, they pulled that fucking huge comeback on Ancient, if I remember correctly. And then on Inferno, Kerrigan just called circles around Gambit. Like, I was really excited to see Kerrigan doing Kerrigan things again. And the way he pressured them by talking about, like Quack said, oh, we have no pressure. We really shouldn't be here. We over exceeded expectations. There's no pressure on us. The pressure's on Gambit. I think that was phenomenal and one of the best ways to use media and interviews to your advantage, right? And as to what Tony said about removing Olaf, what I could want to see maybe is, okay, look at this. Minus Olaf, and you bring in Rops. Come on, that's got to be a banger, right?
Yeah, and my deepest, darkest fantasy, maybe. Realistically,
Yeah, I mean,
no, it's not going to happen.
Realistically, no, but
it would be fun.
Wet Dream, yes, that's phenomenal. That will absolutely elevate them to where they want to be. But
I will smile cleaning up that mess, but no, not happening.
Yeah, because Rops or Kerrigan already wanted to take Rops with him initially, if you remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, who wouldn't?
Didn't exactly get to do that, did he?
Hmm.
Who did he get? He got Olaf, baby. Olaf Meister.
When does his contract expire?
Let me just ask him real quick for you.
Yeah, just hold on. Hey, Robin. Yeah, my G, when's your contract run out?
Hey, Mr. Cool, when are you done lurking? You want to lurk over to FaZe any day soon? What's going on?
Any Snook fans in chat? Swedes get that reference. All right. I think so. Wait, what we're looking for is that we need to get Little Rops, the next Rops. That's the guy who needs to replace Olaf in FaZe.
I think basically what you're saying is that you need a rifler who can close rounds, a closing round rifler, because Twist isn't a closing round rifler, unfortunately.
Yeah, Rops is, and you need to find. You can't get Rops. Well, all right, who's going to be the next Rops?
Hang on, let me Google it. Anorexic and Estonian children.
Who is going to
on sale?
Next? Let me go look at the FPL list real quick. Let me see.
Okay, hold on. This may be like fucking terrible, but
let's hear it. We love that.
Okay, wasn't CTR like good at like clutching like late round situations and like really delaying? He just wasn't fragging enough. Like if you could like develop him getting to frag more, like let him bake a little more in the oven, could that work out?
I don't think it's a bad shout. Just I don't think it's a good shout now for FaZe.
Yet.
Oh yeah, no, he definitely needs to bake in that tier 2 CS7 world.
Yeah, he needs another team that are lower down than FaZe to develop a bit more.
See, if I had to take my pick at who I would do the next Rops, I would probably pick somebody like maybe Diha. Honestly, I'd look at somebody like that, a very low to the ground pickup that you don't really have to work too hard for. I wouldn't think a very good, at least like inkling for them.
I like Diha.
Other than that, yeah, I think that's a solid pick. Actually, now that I think about it, I really would. And then obviously Zipnix, if he's leaving. If he's leaving Astralis, truly, I would obviously slot him in a heartbeat. But yeah, I think Diha is a really solid pick. Because other than that, I'm out. That's all I've got.
Honest, Diha or Zipex, I think those are both great ideas. Just
pick a Skade player to join FaZe. Instead of
Rainwaker.
Yeah, it's Rainwaker. He's the guy who plays
Rainwaker.
Nice.
Yes.
I've one little thing in my head about Rainwaker though, is that I try to project a lot of things off of stats, and a guy who plays his kind of roles and I know it's a sort of a byproduct of how he plays his role, but the fact that he has 40% headshots on a pure rifle player scares me. I know it's because he gets like half his kills spamming smokes and walls because he's just like he's cheating. I
Brain.
swear he's not actually cheating, but I swear he's cheating when I watch his demos.
He's like Flusha. This guy's literally like
he's
Flusha.
Flusha 2.0.
I literally refer to him like I do Flusha. He reminds me of that player.
So Rainmaker could be an
He
idea.
just lifts his mouse a lot.
Yeah,
That's
but
it.
does he speak English? Always the question.
Yes, they do. Bulgarians are very good at English typically, so I
Not
would
the
be
ones I've
very
met.
surprised.
So...
Very surprised if he doesn't speak good English. A lot of Bulgarians learn it as a second language.
Oh no, I'm just saying none of the ones I've met spoke it very well. So
Really? Damn. Poor them. I guess they grew up in the wrong side of Bulgaria.
Yeah, the part with all the tourists. I thought
Yeah.
that'd be exactly where they learn English, but no.
Yeah.
Oh,
So we've got FaZe the surprising dark horse underway,
Wait,
and now we've got
I just wanna add one more thing. Circling back
Yeah.
to minus Olaf plus Sip. That's actually like a realistic move because
Oh, it is, yeah.
and that could like elevate them for sure. Like I think that would be
That was going around the rumor mill.
Yeah,
Zipnik
I
was going
wasn't
around
like
the rumor mill.
Danish CS:GO leagues was like, Zip to face.
Magic to complexity.
To be fair, he's
I
not
mean,
been
I'm-
very
I'm-
wrong recently, has he? He's hit some
It's-
home runs.
It's honestly not out of the realm of possibility even yet, that both of those moves. So I'm gonna reserve my comments before I meet the judgment, you know?
I think the fact Glaive
I know.
I think the fact Glaive re-signed his contract and the others didn't at the same time. I think
Is
that's
very
like,
telling.
yeah, that's an indication.
Because Glaive, no matter this is crazy to me. Glaive, best in-game leader of all Counter-Strike time, many would argue. But if Glaive were to not sign another contract with Astralis, I don't think he'd find many places that he'd be very happy with. Which is weird because like it's just very odd to think about because it's not like every team's gonna up and drop their in-game leader for Glaive right now at the top level. Because they just won't.
Some
No,
should, but yeah, most
they
won't.
definitely will.
But they just won't.
I feel like most teams would like suck dick to get Glaive on their lineup. Honestly,
But like who? I feel like
I
maybe
think- could
Liquid
Glaive-
is the
could Glaive-
only
could-
team that I could
could
throw
Glaive-
mouse
could-
boards maybe.
Yeah, Mouse maybe. Could Glaive pull a device and just leave Astralis and say, "Hey, I want to join your team," and then they'd pay 1 million to get him? Like, could he do that?
I don't think he could. Not at that. I think
Not now that
Device,
he's re-signed, but
Device. Well, yeah, but Device made the money move of doing that with a team that was already looking pretty decent in relative to where they were a year ago.
Yeah, I think.
Glaive,
about-
if he were to try and
wait.
do that, Glaive would find himself in like a number 15 team right now, or a
G2.
number
What about-
20 team.
all right, look,
Should be in
Glaive
G2.
to complexity instead of Blame
Or
F.
G2.
That fixes the motherfucking JKS Blame F like role issue.
Oh, you mean
I-
Glaive coming in for JKS?
for
No,
JKS,
Glaive
right?
coming in for Blame F.
No,
So you
we're-
remove Blame F?
Nah.
Big Daddy
No,
Blame
okay,
is not
if
leaving
Blame
the
F,
team.
if
No.
Blame F is okay with not IGLing, then yeah,
Oh, okay.
Glaive for
Maybe.
JKS. But if he's not okay, then yeah,
I feel like.
honestly. And I don't think Glaive would be good on G2 because more like I don't think Nico would enjoy getting like
Yeah. no, I didn't
IGL
think
by
about it.
Glaive. Like Nico may think like, oh, Glaive best IGL of all time. Sure, that would be hella sick. But like,
Now
I
listen,
don't
Glaive
think-
on NIP.
When has
Clap it
Nico
up,
ever?
guys.
When has Nico ever had a good opinion though? Like,
Exactly. He thought Cole was a good signing. Like, come on.
Nico's one good opinion ever was leaving Mouse Sports for a Kerrigan phase.
Ah,
that was his
yeah.
one opinion
Yeah.
that he ever had that was ever good.
mm,
Guys, I think this is a good idea. That's what he said. And then and then they didn't win a major, and then he said, "Guys, this was a shit idea." Kick Kerrigan.
and then I IGL now.
He's an
Look at
intellectual,
me.
truly.
I am the IGL.
Truly.
yeah.
So then we can move on to the ever infinitely growing Simple in power. Supposedly, he's just not stopped. And I don't know how much more he could possibly do before he starts to run out of steam and people start calling him washed. But
I don't think he's getting washed. He's gonna keep improving, but I think statistically this is gonna be his peak event ever. He's never gonna
Yeah.
have a better event than this.
Well, better event where he's actually contested. There's certain
Like a
events
big,
where
he's
like a
actually
big,
winning,
big
yeah.
event. If Navi
Yeah.
for some reason ever play a closed qualifier, then yeah, he might be better there statistically.
No,
But,
not even
like,
close qualifiers, but we've seen recently with the clashes between tournaments, teams having to pick. He could end up in a field with there's like 2 other top 10 teams at most. There you could see him go absolutely nuts, and it would be a pretty big tournament. It's just the clashes of scheduling we've had recently.
If
It's
we're
not
talking
crazy.
like elite events, like
yeah, I
where
don't
you
think
have
you'll ever see this again from Simple or
No,
anyone,
not
for
not
that
in
matter.
Yeah.
not in like a Cologne level event, like
Not in a
big
real
event.
legacy event. Yeah, I get that.
An event
mean-
that in normal times would have a LAN with a crowd. That's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
mean,
I'm
I'd
just-
agree, but every time I think there's no way this guy can get any better. He just fucking gets better somehow. Like,
How
I
does
don't
this guy
understand
move
what
his
the
mouse
fuck.
any better than he did the month or the year before? I don't understand.
Yeah.
What's he doing?
It just does. Like,
This guy just learns a new way of holding his mouse.
no, next line he's going to show up. He's going to start playing, and then suddenly you look at his screen, and it's actually just Doom, and he's just bunny hopping perfectly with no reduction in speed, shooting guns that go through every wall and headshot, and you're like,
He's
is he cheating? Then you look again, it's like, no, it's just still Counter-Strike, but he's
No, it's just
dropped
simple.
50 kills in 10 rounds, and you're like, oh.
he's playing with his feet in the next event, and he'll drop a 50 bomb, and you'll be like, "This is the new way." Like, imagine.
Oh, he just shows
Yeah,
up with like a fucking
fucking
GameCube
insane.
controller, and he's like,
But it actually is funny that we say that because it links very well to what the next topic was on that same list. Is that Gambit has not been the ever-growing powerhouse that we were expecting them to be. Even though they did have a very good run, I think that they are slowly, finally coming to their expected end at a peak of where they are in the top 5, top 10, finally stopping short in Cologne.
I don't think it's a peak. I think it's just a plateau. I think they built.
No, I'm saying that they hit their peak, is what I mean.
Yeah, and I'm saying it's. I don't think it's a peak. I think it's a plateau. I
You're
think they can
saying they
still
can
get
get
better.
better.
Of course.
Oh, you
This
think?
is a team of
Yeah.
mostly young players who massively built up. Like, of course, across the online era where they were low pressure, they could actually like play together, have their coach talking a bit. Now they've gone to LAN. They've hit some sort of reality where it's like, oh shit, this is LAN. They're going to get better slowly. We're going to return to real LANs with crowds. That'll be another slowdown, because now the crowd's here screaming. We've got to think, process, try to get our heads around this, and then they'll keep growing after that. I don't think this is a peak. I think it's just one plateau of maybe a couple more, but they're
I don't
still
know how
going to
much
get
better
better.
you can get than number 1 for 3 months.
Well,
That's
it's
Gambit.
also relative to the other teams you're playing against.
Yeah.
Right.
We consider it more
I agree
impressive
with
to win a
Pete
LAN.
here. Like, they're really good online, right? They're like the number one online. And then they went to LAN, they slowed down, but they still did really well, right? So what happens to that team when they get more experience and they're like every other LAN team? Like, how good are they going to be, you know?
I can
I
see
think
them
they can
being
definitely
good again.
get better.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll have to
I mean,
agree to
they're
disagree
already
then,
good.
because I genuinely don't think that they'll ever get better than what they were. I don't think that they'll ever get to that, personally. I think that this 5 has about reached what it's done, and I think that that's how it's going to stay.
I'll
personally.
give
I
you a
don't think they're gonna
compromise.
Be much better.
I'll give you a compromise here, all right? They are going to get better. So is everyone else, and they won't have the results to show it. These have been their best results they'll ever have. They might be better, but the results won't be there.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying, yeah, exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying that this will be the most dominant Gambit that we've seen and will ever see. I think personally, I think that that was their spell. I think that they'll compete for finals. I think that they'll definitely be in competition for finals, dark horses, and I think that they'll turn into the Virtus Pro of today's day and age for a solid while. Well, they'll just keep this 5 for a solid like year maybe, and then compete for a little bit, maybe phase off, then back in, and then eventually they'll trade out one player at a time or something. I just don't. That's just how I feel personally.
I just look at the
Agree or
players they
disagree?
have, the players who are playing well now, and you think of how old they are and how much more they have to still develop and how much more they still have to improve. I still think this team can have like a 3-month stretch that might match the results, but also then
Right.
be considered better because it will be better Counter-Strike against better opponents
True.
at bigger events.
I
I
just
definitely
thought
think
about
they still
something.
have it.
I just thought about something, all right? Do you guys think that Shiro could ever be replaced by Simple? Like, could that ever happen?
I don't know. Maybe, possibly. It's always in the realm of
What a
possibility
shit
in the day
answer,
of
Tony.
Counter-Strike, man.
What a
Shit
shit
happens.
answer to
What
my
a shit question.
question.
What a dumb question. Can Simple ever replace Device? I'm Quack. Like what?
Yeah, technically can.
Like, what
The
do
real
you-
question is,
like-
could it work?
Like what do you
I
want me
mean,
to say?
okay, the scenario I have in my head is that Navi goes to shit for whatever reason. Maybe it's Blade's fault, maybe it's
No,
Boomix's fault.
Navi? No.
Seriously?
And then I mean, all right, simple
Seriously?
just goes.
No.
Simple just goes. All right, so I'm gonna pull a Nico here, and I'm gonna go to my biggest rival team, and I'm gonna replace Shiro, who we don't know. Like my thing about Shiro is that Shiro is Shiro is the 3rd best player on this team, like in my opinion.
No.
Shiro, no. All right, listen here. Shiro
No.
is all right. I'll rephrase. Shiro is not the most unique player on this team.
I think
He does.
Shiro is the third most impactful player on that team. I
Yeah.
agree.
I
But
would
it
agree with
doesn't
that
have
more.
to be. It doesn't have to be Shiro. Like Gambit could have Elian. They had Elian for a while on their
Elian's so
youngsters
good.
rosters. If you brought Elian in for Shiro, then yeah, that would still work. Like Shiro, all that Gambit need is an opper who can aim. And
Then
then
again,
what
it
about?
is CIS. You can
what
say that
about
about literally
Monacy
any
for-
offer. I feel like you can
Monacy
literally
for-
say, "Oh, put insert CIS offer here," and it will work. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
like
true.
fucking. Okay,
They're all just so
Monacy-
very good. I
Monacy
think that's
for
what we're
Shiro,
getting at.
yeah.
Is that every CIS offer is so very good, and Shiro is unfortunately not special anymore because they're all so good.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
So what I'm saying then is, all right. So Gambit are good. Navi go to shit. Simple decides, fuck it. Nico moved to G2 after being on FaZe forever. Fuck it. I'll just go to Gambit, replaces Shiro, and then Gambit go to shit because it turns out Shiro was actually important all along.
I remember there
or
being
something.
some crazy rumor back when Zeus was playing for Gambit that Simple was gonna join instead of Zeus joining Gambit. Navi, excuse me. And that would have been the weirdest timeline. That would have been Simple, Hobbit, Dosia, Zeus, and I believe
Adren.
Adren.
That is
Yeah.
a timeline where Simple could actually be benched.
I actually think
Hey.
they were gonna get Flamey also on top of that. I think it was Flamey for
Didn't-
Dosia, but I don't remember exactly.
Wasn't like Simple and Flamey like weren't they like about to go to like
Oh,
MIBR for a
there
bit?
were a different. Well, yeah, there were a bunch of different things going on at that time, which is why it's also crazy. But yeah. Anyways, we spoke on that. Gambit not looking as good as they were. Some think that they can make their way back up. Some are a little different. I guess some are North American. And now we move on to Zontaraz's new team. We had done MSL's new team, but the next rumor in the mill is Woxic, Calix, Emor, Paz, Zontares with Hardstyle as the coach in an unknown team with an unknown organization. So, first question I think we have to start out with is, do we think that this is real?
I think it's real because the rumor mill. I mean, there's still a chance it's not real, or maybe that like one of the players or two are inaccurate. But I think the like Turkish super team as a whole, I think it's real, personally.
Okay.
No, I don't think this is real. I think Santaris is real. Like Santaris does
Yes,
have a new team.
he's not
I also
ethereal.
think Zontares is real. Yes, I too
He's a
believe that.
figment.
I'm with you on this one.
I think I don't think I think he has a new team. That's what I mean. We know
Okay.
Woxic has a new team. I think they might even be the same team.
What if
Calix
his new
might
team
be
is
on there.
Sprout?
Whoa,
Whoa, dude! Hold on, hold
Oh
on a
my
second.
god! Just end his career there then. Fuck it.
Hold
that would
on.
actually be pretty fucking sick, to be honest.
What if it's Speedy, Favin, Calix, Woxic, and Zontares? Oh,
Then
Ooh.
Dennis joins big.
fuck Dennis.
All right,
Imagine.
well,
Again? Imagine he joins again.
what like I can see Calix being there. I just don't see the Sangal guys being there, like at all. Like by any means. I think Sangal would have to disband, and I don't think Sangal have a reason to disband right
Well,
now.
Sangal would be picking them up. That was what the rumor was. With this, it was that Sangal was picking this team up.
The rumor I heard was that a pretty successful Valorant org called Fireflux Esports, who have a Turkish team,
Yeah,
and they've
that's
been
what I
pretty
heard.
decently successful and
That's
made
not
some
the
money
same
in
one that I
Valorant.
heard.
And they wanted to enter CS with a roster of Santaris, Woxic. The roster that I heard was Santaris, Woxic, Calix, Xfluid, and Tarek, which was fucking
Oh, that's
sick.
different. We're talking about two different things. I'm talking
Yeah,
about
that
the
was
one
different.
that Woxic tweeted out, and then they reported that Sangal was picking that team up.
The
Yeah,
thing
but
about
I mean,
yeah.
Woxic tweet out about like the new team, right? Like, I'm pretty sure I read that. That wasn't just like my imagination. So there is a new team with Woxic in it, and I think it would be very reasonable to assume that like Centaurus and Calix would be there, and then you get two other Turkish players. or
Yeah,
something.
another reason why I don't believe that report, because I read that report, was because the author had written out the word support on two players as their role. Like you had IGL, Opper, Rifler, and then just support. And I don't think there's no way pass, or wait, who was calling? Was Major gonna call? I don't fuck, whatever the fuck, whoever Centaurus was calling. There's no way IGL Centaurus would say to a reporter, "These two are our support players," and so either the reporter is just fucking guessing, or or it's just fake. I don't think I think people are just piecing together rosters of Turkish players.
Yeah, also it could be either.
Yeah, they
I don't
also spelled rifler wrong with 2 F's. So
I think about it, and then I think about
The
no way
ruthless.
does Woxic have a team of 5 players that aren't already signed. There's zero possibility, and that they aren't Zonteras and Calix. So whoever the other two are, whatever.
Yeah.
Beyond
The other
but-
two are my big thing. I don't think it's Sangal players
Yeah.
unless Sangal is disbanding. I don't think Sangal have a reason to drop the other players. Like dropping
Fuck 'em.
they're in that case they're dropping Major, they're dropping Sensei and
That guy
Engine.
sucks. That guy sucks.
What, Sensei sucks? He was
Yeah, that
pretty
guy
good.
sucks. He's not. He's no Zonteras. That's all I'm saying.
I mean,
No, of course
that's
not,
not the
but he's
comparison we're trying to really talking about, is it?
He's
Well,
awful as
kind of.
well,
Yeah,
though.
it is, isn't
It's
it?
not. No,
Sensei's
he's not
awful.
playing the same role as Centaurus.
Oh, I thought we were just saying who we're picking up and dropping.
I mean, in in the event this is real, you're dropping Major, Engine, and Sensei, and like I can get behind Engine, I can get behind Sensei. I guess I can get behind Sensei. He's still all right. I don't see why you would drop Major, especially if you're
Sensei is
keeping.
It's not very good. I don't know where we're getting this idea that Sensei is good. He is not very good.
I watched him. I thought he was good.
Again, the point is not that he's not. I'm not saying he's better than like Woxic, because that's essentially the replacement we're making, right? If they're AWP, if he's the AWP leaving
Yeah,
for Woxic.
right.
I'm not saying he's,
not
better than
Woxic,
Woxic.
no.
It's just
No.
I don't want to trash the guy. He's been pretty decent considering he replaced, what was his name? Was it Logic Man?
Furious?
Logic Man.
Oh, Logic
was-
Man.
Oh my god, he did a way better job than that guy and made the team passable outside of Emor. But yeah, Major is like the only IGL Turkey's ever really
I'd
had.
keep Major. I would have kept.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's the thing. Why
It's
the
just
fuck
he's
would
30
Sangal
in
ever
it.
drop?
Like,
Why would
Would've just
Sangal
gotten rid
drop
of Paz.
Major while they're keeping Hardstyle as the coach? Like, I think you want to keep that IGL. Why in any fucking world would you drop Major in favor of Santaris calling?
Yeah, Calix, Zonteras, Major, Woxic, and Emor is good
Wasn't
enough. I don't know.
Major on Space Soldiers with the
Yes.
Centaur? Yeah,
Major,
maybe
Paz,
they
and
don't
Engine
want to
is
like
the-
make.
the-
Maybe they don't want to make a Space Soldiers 2.0. Maybe that's like.
But the
why
problem
they
with
would,
that
like-
in my head is that
They still
Space
kinda are.
Soldiers
Yeah.
was such a good team with such bad pieces. They had Despe as their opper, in and out of the team as the 6th man, with Engine still in the team, Paz still in the team, and then you have Zonteras who's fragging out, Calix who's looking good as the 2nd player, Major who's in-game leading but isn't putting up very good numbers, and your last 2 players are actual bots. So all of that, keep all that in your brain, what I just said, and then take into consideration that team made top 15. That's
in a different
insane.
era.
So they were just getting
In a
like,
different
hard
era,
coded.
top 12, yes, in 2018. But that's still pretty considerable that you've got a better opper by so far and beyond marginal.
To be
And a
honest,
better rifler,
making
so
to be
far
honest,
and
making
beyond.
top 12 in 2018 is probably more difficult than right now. Honestly,
I wouldn't disagree.
I don't
And
think
I
you
think that
get
the fact
these
that you
like,
have clear upgrades available is just like a no-brainer. And like, oh, I mean, if we want to play for our country, now is the time. Like the Ence's time to play for their country with 5 fins, that was the time to do it. This is the time to do it for their country. And if they don't do it, then they're never going to get the chance because Major's going to retire and they're going to be shit out of luck. And then Zonteras is going to be like, why do I in-game lead for only Turkish team?
What if it was like Major, Centaurus, Woxic, Calix, X-Cloud? Would that work?
I honestly have zero knowledge on what xCloud does, even remotely to consider him in a team.
I was about to say,
Yeah, me
who the
neither,
fuck
that's
is
why I'm just
X-Cloud?
throwing it out there.
He plays
on
in the
Gorillas,
Flusha
though.
team right now.
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
he's supposed
yeah.
to be like actually on Gorillas, I think.
Polar said that he'd take Emor over the 5 guys that we said,
Let me
while
check if
Emor
he
is
has,
one
like,
of those 5 guys.
Yeah, yeah. He's like Emor over Emor.
That's if you
Yeah.
watched an Emor demo before. I'm not saying the guy's bad. He's clearly a beast with great aim, but it's not exactly a coordinated effort. It's Emor go
Yeah.
kill something, and if he doesn't, he doesn't. If he does, he kills 3 things, which is great. But I struggle to
And
see
you know what
him
I love
under an
about that?
IGL half the time. It's just weird.
What I love about that is Woxic and Zontaras in that same team. I feel like that would be cracked.
It'd be
feel like that would be
stupid.
awesome.
So stupid.
I think it'd be so awesome with just Zontaras calling around the map saying, go kill, and then Emor runs in, kills one, Woxic kills one on the op, Zontaras cleans up on the last. So awesome. Calyx in a 1v2 clutch for the end, and then he wins it. Songo win the major! Could you imagine?
Yeah,
I think-
literally
right.
playing deathmatch, they somehow won the major. But
Yeah, that'd be so funny.
Yeah, firepower, they're nuts. Yeah, no worries.
You guys have delay. I spoke about Emor a lot earlier. Shut up, Polar. I don't have delay. I just don't read.
What he said. I saw it, I
Anyway,
just didn't bring it up.
Okay,
I feel like that was oh, what do you got?
like, are we done with this topic?
Oh,
'Cause
I mean, you have
wanna...
something to add? Go for it.
We can be.
No. I want to switch it to
wrap
like, a
it up,
kind of related topic.
To wrap it up, I just want to say the fact that we've had like 3 or 4 different rumored rosters surrounding Xantares and Woxic in like a month and a half doesn't look good. I want to say
So I
all
think
of
you know
them
what
are
that
fake.
confirms. You know what that confirms is that at least Calyx, Zontaras, and Woxic are in that 3 because they've been in every single one so far.
Oh
That is
yeah,
a
that's
good
fair.
trio,
Yeah, that could be
to
a
be
good
fair.
core.
But to be fair,
That
they're
could be
also
a
the
good core.
3 most available Turks right now.
Phenomenal trio. It's absolutely phenomenal if you could pick all 3 of those players up at once. That's a brand trio, really, that you're picking up. At least a duo, a brand duo, and then a good support player in the game. But other than that,
Yeah.
what were you saying?
All right, since we were talking about Centaurus, and I mean he's left big, they signed Gade. So, what are we thinking about that?
They're gonna need Favin, or that's it.
Yeah, I have no idea why they didn't like try and get like Favin. Honestly,
I think they did, and I think that's what they're either waiting for or they're not going to be able to do. Because if they don't get that, then
right?
unlucky.
Let's say they don't get Favin. Can this
Team's
team
dead.
do anything with
Nope,
Gade?
team's dead. Team's
No,
dead.
yeah, team's dead.
That's my call.
I wouldn't have high hopes.
I think team is going to be top 15 still. I think Tapsin and Searson should be enough to get them over the line of top 15 with Keto doing good entry fragging work on T side. But Gade, he will not have the same impact that Zontaras had, and he will not have the same impact that either of the other star riflers of this team have ever had, being Tapsin and fucking Keto when he was star rifling and not hard entry. But it's really all I got. Unless you have Gade as your support player, you have nothing to work for.
I think this is a good move.
Here he comes, the sad little Gate fan. Just like,
I've
it's a
been
good
sitting
move,
here.
though.
Yeah, I've been sitting here since you brought it up, just waiting, so I can just say I think it's a good
Yeah.
move.
I
I'm glad they
think-
ate all those punches first.
I think
He's a counter puncher,
I think
man. He's a
Gate-
counter puncher.
you could put Gate on support, and that would probably work pretty well because he's a good support player.
And then make Tizzy your star rifler. I knew it. It's gonna work, guys.
Tizzy and your star rifler? What the
That's
fuck?
that's what you just said, basically. isn't it?
No, no. I said it might
Keto!
work.
Oh no,
No,
this
I
is where
didn't
he's
say
going.
that
This is
either.
where he's going. That's where he's going.
No.
See, man. See.
Oh yes, 5
What I'm about to
supports.
say.
Great plan. Great plan.
Yes,
All right,
I-
so-
now
You could
I
probably
see.
put Gate on support, move some rolls around, get Fabian for fucking Tizian or Keto or whatever the fuck you want to do. Might work.
Get him for
Who
Tizian.
knows? But I watched a lot of Hyenas demos, and in Hyenas, Gade had like a bit of a role change where he was lurking, and he was doing it well. Like, just keep him on that. just keep him lurking. It's gonna be fine.
Jeez. But that's
It's
not
all gonna be
like-
fine.
All right. Well,
Gade was the top performer on the failed Hyenas project while lurking and IGLing while playing with Kirby.
all I'm saying is that Zontaras was not a lurker. So
Okay, you
all.
gotta
Yeah,
move
but I
some
mean,
more rolls
it's- yeah,
around, but a
you move the
lurker
rolls
can
around.
be a star rifler. I just think Gade can be a star rifler on the team. Maybe not the best rifler on this team. I mean, or best player. I guess Susan is gonna be better. Gade is never gonna be the star on this team. I'm just saying
So what
can
ranking
put up-
do you think this team hits highest? Absolute peak, even if it's for 1 week.
Come on, money where your mouth is.
I think Big are the kind of team that they can't get anywhere on merit. They just sort of go with the flow and
damn it.
no, okay, no, hang on. I have a point. They can hit top 1 if everyone else goes to shit. Like if their rivals go to shit, they can hit top 1. If everyone else just fucking bangs out, then they're like top 15. But like I don't think Big can ever like become good enough to be top 5 without all of the good teams struggling.
I think they could be top 10, maybe.
Top 10. All right, yeah, I'm gonna say top 10. I think top Big being top 10 with Gade at least for 1 week.
You guys did
is
it.
gonna
They're
happen.
currently top 10.
Yeah, exactly.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
You guys
technically.
did it.
We did it.
You're not wrong, and you can't ever be wrong
Right,
now that you've
I'll be a
said
little
that.
more bold. They'll make top 5 for at least 1 week. They'll make like
Top
one good
5
playoff
for
run.
1 week. Okay. So
I'm
I
gonna be
think-
more conservative. I think they can make top 8.
I think that they'll hit 7 the highest, and that they will float around top 15, not lower. That's what I'm
Let me
saying.
write these down. Hang on, okay. Quick. 5.
That's my saying. So, I mean, while he's doing that, I guess we can slowly move our way forwards into what we have next, which we actually skimmed over, and I'm surprised that we did in terms of our topic list. I had to add it in late. That Fnatic have just added Alex and Mezzi, former Cloud9 duo, in-game leader and support player, in place of JDM. I have JDM on the brain. JW and Golden in their newest lineup, keeping, obviously, Brawlin, Crims, and Jacquinho Samuelson in the coach/analyst role. So how do we feel about this, boys? How do we feel about Alex and Mezzi making their way in?
Weren't they trying to get Keita to be their coach?
There was
think that's
rumor
happening.
about it, but
No, I think that's still happening. It just hasn't been announced.
I just don't think it's been made official.
Yeah, I think it's still gonna happen. I think that's still a thing.
I think it would be a really good idea.
Yeah, definitely. So Alex is definitely an upgrade over Golden, because I mean
Absolutely.
Golden was just like, I'm sorry, he was just abysmal towards the end of his time in Fnatic, and then Messi in for JW. That's also like a huge upgrade.
Yeah.
You give, like on endpoint, he was kind of like farming a bit. Like you give Messi good roles, and I feel like he could be very good, honestly. So you have that, and then Crims. Well, Crims is Crims. Like he hasn't been doing
Crims
too bad.
is Crims.
He hasn't been doing too good. And then Brolin and Jacquinho. Honestly, I don't know too much about them. Who would be opting? Like
Jacquinho.
Jacquinho? Is he any good?
Yeah, he's good enough.
He's all right.
He's decent. He's better than JW.
he should be the 3rd or 4th best player on this team.
I'd say
But, like,
3rd. I think he's gonna stick around as 3rd best player on this team, personally.
Who's gonna be the
And
4th then?
Bro-
Because I was gonna say he's gonna be maybe worse than Mezzi.
I think Crims is gonna take a back seat.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
probably.
See,
You
okay,
hope so.
I had
You hope so.
I had a little bit more of an in-depth answer to this, thinking about it over like the grand scheme of their team. So I'll go last. So Quack, how do you feel?
I think picking up Messi is a really good move for any team. Like Messi's just good, King
Yeah.
Messi. I think Alex is also a big upgrade over Golden. I don't think this is the Fnatic that is going to be like the good Fnatic again. I don't think.
What's missing?
I don't think Alex has what it takes. I think he needs a he needs another Zaiwu to make that.
Okay.
Okay.
I
King,
think so,
do you have
like-
anything?
Oh,
I
yes,
would
I have a
hate-
lot of things.
Okay,
but...
yeah. Right,
Oh,
move
you
on.
have a lot of things too.
Yeah, I
What
mean,
if you get knocked instead of Jacquinho?
Oh, slow down,
no,
slow down,
no,
slow
no,
down,
no, no,
slow
no,
down.
No, 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 stop.
Slow down.
Everyone's so hasty to talk mad shit about Jacquinho. People who know who he is, that is. And I really think that is way too early on in the conversation to say. Like, even during this time period where Fnatic have been horrendous and Jacquinho wasn't helping, really, I think that's not entirely his fault. For a lot of that tenure at the start, he was rifling. And then he got transitioned into the AWP while still having the old AWPer on the team. I think that's incredibly demotivating for a player. When you're just told, like, hey, you can now get to AWP, but you still won't get a fucking babysitter sat in the server with you. I didn't like that at all. I didn't like that dynamic. And I think Jacquinho's going to come back. Like, before he was on Fnatic, he was on lesser teams. He put up big numbers. It's part of the reason why he was signed. You know, he's a good player. I think he's going to start climbing back up towards that level. My biggest issue with this entire team is it's kind of the Alex thing with, like, can he do it without Zaiwu? Because Cloud9, a lot of people like to say, you know, they seemed fundamentally sound, were still a shit show of a team. They still were a train wreck. They still didn't do what they were supposed to have done. So My biggest question mark's Alex, but I still think this team is top 10 at minimum, with potential for top 5 should Jaquinho actually return to that level he was before.
Yeah, like Alex is sort of my point as well, because I don't think Alex. I don't like the argument of, oh, Alex is nothing without Saiwu, even if that sort of is my argument. I think Alex is still alright. He's like a good IGL in a lot of ways. The one thing that like he's not to be that sort of IGL, you need to be good in all ways. Like you have to have every single part of the IGL work nailed down pretty firmly. And I don't think he does. Like I've never seen anything like tactically impressive from Alex. Like it was all just like playing off of momentum, playing off of defaults. Like I've never seen like a good mid round from Alex.
See,
So what if, all right, let's say Keita gets like signed as a coach. Would like Keita and Alex like make it like a good duo where like Keita's more like the tactical guy and like would that work?
I have a lot to say.
Yeah, I'm
Very
gonna
much.
on that
go for
point. Hang on, sorry. So I just want to jump on that point. That doesn't really solve the problem Quack brought up though, because Keita can't make a mid-round call, and no one thought Alex needed help with the basic default setup, like the foundation of the game. The problem was the mid-round, the improvisational stuff, the solving problems on the fly kind of thing. Sure, Keita maybe can help him if we have attack pause, but round to round, it doesn't really help him make mid-rounds.
Yeah, like mid rounds in general are just my main concern about Alex, because I think he can put together and call like decent defaults. He can call like a decent set piece out of spawn, a pretty good exec. Like that's fine, but like when shit hits the fan in a 2v4, that's when you want to have someone like a Kerrigan or fuck it, I'll say it, a Hampus. But like you don't want to have or Arcadian, like someone who can just like pull back that mid round. And I don't think Alex can do that. And that's like my main point. I've never seen an impressive mid round from Alex. And with a Fnatic team like this, like you have Jaquinho, he's not very experienced. He could go down a lot. Mezzi, like as good as he is, you know, he's also not very experienced. There's like a decent chance that a lot of their defaults just like fall apart. And that's when mid rounding becomes important.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're right.
I agree. And now I'm gonna completely shit on everything you guys just said. Absolutely and entirely. As I do. So, as an in-game leader, as having been a very, very amateur in-game leader, there is different types of in-game leading that you need to take into account very deeply. It's a very serious thing that you need to understand about in-game leading, is that in-game leaders do different things. Some in-game leaders love that beginning round, early round, work off of what we have, then call something later on. The mid-round, right? The mid-round call where we have everything ready to go and ready to rip. Then there are the in-game leaders who can't adapt to when things go to shit. There are 2 players alive as opposed to your 5, and now you've got to come up with a completely new game plan to try and figure out the round. The problem with an in-game leader like Alex in a team like Cloud9 is that every player he had was either too spontaneous or not spontaneous enough. Woxic, way too spontaneous to have in your team with a team like Alex. As soon as things go to shit, Woxic probably also goes to shit because his spontaneity no longer becomes a useful tool. It becomes something that you have to rely on. Then you've got players like Floppy and Esatag who are very, very set in their role. They're very, very, how do I word it? Turret-like players, if that makes sense. They're very slow and methodical, moving around a bomb site and a group of people and players on the map. But now in this team, what I really like about having Alex in this team is that he has Mezzi and Crims, 2 players who are very capable of taking situations into their own hands as just cerebral players, experience or not. I think Mezzi is very good at taking control of a situation. And Brawlin is a player who is very young for his age, who's also very good at that, in my opinion. The only issue that I do have with this team that I will absolutely admit is Jaquinho. Not Jaquinho in his own right, but Jaquinho under Alex. That is where I have my issue. I think that if Jaquinho, if he can pull himself into a top 5 opper, top 10 opper even, he can make this team work. I think it really falls onto him. But in terms of calling, I think that this team will do very well under Alex because they're all very individual players anyway. They're not spontaneous in the sense that they just do something and it happens to work, but spontaneous in the sense that they know the maps, they know the rotations, they know who they're playing against, so they can make their own decision making for themselves without having Alex to be like, okay, Crims, do this. Crims is just like, okay, I've done this a million times, I'll do this. And Mezzi's like, I already know how the map works, so I'll do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the veterancy of Grims will like be very useful.
Yes, I agree. So sorry to absolutely just go on a tangent about it, but that's what I was
No,
going to say from the beginning.
No,
And then
no,
something
no.
else that I was
appreciate
also
that.
going to say is that if you look at Crim's statistics over these last 3 months or so, and then you look at where he was with Flusha in the team, and then you look at where he was when they had picked up, is it Jaquinho who replaced him? Was that the 1-for-1? Was it Jaquinho who moved in for Flusha afterwards? Someone could refresh my memory.
Yes, because no one else left Fnatic for ages. So yeah.
So I think that it's absolutely incredible that they have Mezzi in this team now, because I think that he fills that void that Flusha left that they weren't able to get back. And JW being gone makes it even better, because that makes Jaquinho so much more able to move around the map comfortably, because he knows that his teammates know what they're doing. So God, I hope and pray that Jaquinho falls into his own on this team, because I think that is what will bring them to the top.
Can I just say, like, this is Fnatic we're talking about, and like they have another Opper signed to their org. Like he's just played one event, but like Regali, Regali is good.
See,
They always...
that would be really good if they needed to make a change. Even MHL, I even thought that MHL was going to come in for Jaquinho's playthrough, so I wasn't against that. So
yeah, like assuming Regali is this good and it just wasn't a fluke event, then assuming he actually is this good consistently, then yeah, if Jaquinho just fails, you can literally just like swap a route. Jaquinho gets to play with Pepsor and Keve. That's going to be great. And then he can like develop, you know, maybe they'll sell him or something. And Regali goes in main squad.
Really good. That would be very interesting.
Yeah, that would be very interesting, I think.
Yeah.
It's a good backup plan.
That's just like...
I completely forgot about Regali.
Yeah, if we're standing there in like New Year's Eve and then Jaquinho is like 0.9 rated, then just like bring in Regali, see what happens for like 2 months or so. If he's good, keep him. Whatever.
I think it's really novelty, this team, like I said just now, about how they all know what they're doing around a map, especially with an in-game leader like Alex, because my brain now says that if this doesn't work for Alex, because if Alex gets kicked before this works or doesn't work, then it's on him. I think this is his final test as an in-game leader, to where you can say whether or not he'll make a system work, because this, in my opinion, is his ideal system, unless Jaquinho doesn't perform. That's the only way I see this being a not an Alex failure, right? That's really all I can see.
Yep.
So pretty much, yeah.
And then we can just move on into the replacement for Mezzi now, pretty much as a direct transition. Boros, Issa's next in line Jordanian buddy to make the way over.
Fucking monster.
Boros?
Fucking
Boros is a
insane.
monster.
Is he actually?
We've only watched him
have
online.
you ever
obviously,
seen this
but
guy play?
Fucking hell.
I have literally not. No, never even once.
Chef's kiss. This guy is beast. Like, he's the kind of guy, like, you know how we talked about Imor earlier, and you think about Imor in the super aggressive take fights type of shit. Boros played a similar role, except instead of running out alone out of mid doors on Dust 2 and picking up 3 kills, he does it at the front of an execute, which has his teammates backing him up, but he doesn't need the rest of the team because he's already hit 3 headshots. He's a monster. He puts up numbers from an entry role like I haven't seen. And the way he does it... Just for funsies. Just for funds, yeah. I mean, I was going to make a really inappropriate religion joke, but he is a monster. Like, he's so good. So good.
But I think that for... I think it'd be really interesting to see Issa in this team also. That'd be really cool. Just for the fact that you see them together. And I think that Issa is good enough to just smurf at this level really anyway. But, like, I just think it'd be really cool. Not even like they need another change endpoint. I'm just saying that, like, it'd be fun.
I mean,
endpoint is... Endpoint is always been good at scouting. Like, Endpoint were the ones who found Smooya, right?
I don't even think there's a player Endpoint hadn't found in the last, like, 2 years, pretty much.
No, yeah, like all UK talents, sort of, in one way or another, came from Endpoint.
All 3.
I guess...
All 3.
Yeah. But, like, this is a good pickup. This is, like, good scouting. Like, Boros on Nasser, that was a shit team. He was still 1.13 rated. And man, I remember this fucking map like it was yesterday. They would have made playoffs.
Is on that team also.
On Nasser? He just joined.
They're slowly building that team to be interesting in itself at the same time.
Yeah, it is an interesting team. But Boris on Nasser, I remember this map like it was yesterday because I was so sad. in Snows, I think it was Spring Sweet Spring 2 or something. They were this close to being in playoffs on the last map versus 100 ping gods. They had map point, and then all fucking internet in all of Jordania goes out, and they need to use Sanden and Shine as stand-ins for the overtime,
Yeah,
and they lose.
that was such
And
a shame.
They almost made
Man, that's
playoffs
sad.
in like a pretty good European event.
Yeah, that was.
You
That
know
was
what
a
we
real
haven't seen
shame.
in a minute? You know what we haven't seen in a minute that I want to see play again? Blink. The team with Juan Flatru and Synopsy. I was actually really enjoying watching that team start to grow and develop because they were doing a lot for an Albanian team, in my opinion, of players that I've never heard of in my life before ever. And I
Yeah.
kind of want to see where they take their next ESEA season.
Yeah, they're an
Yeah,
interesting
yeah.
one to follow. Yeah.
Yeah, I keep my eye on them for sure.
What's the name of the guy who was so insane for like a while? GXX. I just
EXX,
remember
yeah.
seeing him because he was worth like 200 in the HLTV fantasy thing. He was worth like $277,000. Like,
He's a very good player, yeah.
yeah, that's the biggest fight. I think he had 1.5 or 1.6 rating at that point.
Where are they right now, Blink? Where in the world are Blink? They're
Well,
not
once you
in
go looking for that,
Ooh.
I want to go back to the Boros point. In case anyone heard, Quack said he was 1.13 rated. In case any of y'all don't understand the depth of numbers, his impact rating on that team was over 1.3. Like
They're in
that
Premier, they're in
explains
Premier.
like
Holy
the way
shit.
he plays. Like he was immensely impactful. It was all entries, all multis.
Yeah.
He was a beast
I
on that
also-
team.
I want to point out it's a lot harder to be good on a shit team than it is to be good on a good team. Because,
In
like,
his position,
I think,
especially, I think.
Yeah, especially as a
your team,
rifler.
like, you don't know what the fuck your team is doing. They're like disappointing you. They're like being bots all over the map, and you have to like step up. On a good team, like with a good system, like you know what everyone's doing. Like it's easier, in my opinion, to like find impact that way. And on a like shit team, like you're basically having to like carry them solo. So I think that's really impressive, personally.
I think it's a little more nuanced though. The point for specifically Boris is because you see a
Well,
lot
yeah.
of players who put up big numbers on shit teams. The problem is they're either AWPing, like you see this all the time. I find a guy, I'm looking for prospects for like a video or something, and I'm like, oh, this guy's put up great numbers. He's AWPing on a shit team. It's the sort of frags where he's the last guy alive, saves kills too. He's like
The
trades the
abusers.
3 guys who've just died. Then you can't do anything anyway, and you don't get the full impression of what their skill set is. When you watch Boros, he doesn't have to, see his team die in front of him, then go save, and just like, no death this round, better rating. No, he's the guy who goes in, gets 2, then everyone dies. So it's even more to his credit.
Yeah, I'm getting like that's like was he playing entry?
Oh yeah,
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 getting
very
those
hard
stats
entry.
as an entry player on a bad team, that's pretty fucking insane.
it's a question of if it can translate. Because at a higher level, the hard entry rarely puts up those numbers for good reason. So
Yeah.
we'll see how he plays in endpoint. But yeah, he was just he'd push first, hit the shots, and then the rest of the team would just
Yeah,
Mid-lane,
I just
at
realized
best.
he's replacing Messi, who's like
Yeah,
a
that's-
backline player though.
we have a lot of questions about that, don't we?
Yeah,
What is he going to do on this team?
I mean he can still aim.
You can always
it's
put
still
Thomas in a more favorable position now.
Yeah, that to be fair,
Good, yeah.
I've never watched much Thomas, so in my head he could do anything.
Thomas
he
is a
could play
very
that.
aggressive player inherently too, so it's
Oh, is he?
very
I don't know.
questionable. Yeah. So it's very interesting. I think what you really have to take into question here is what the hell are Mighty Max and Surreal doing? Both of them can't be supporting on this team if they've got 2 aggressive players right now. They need somebody to just destroy as they finally get the bomb sites. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the closer. They need a closer.
Yeah.
Surreal,
So-
I think, has put up some games. He has had some games I've seen where he's done a decent enough
This
job.
guy
of it.
just doesn't die, man. He's been on this team for what now, man? Forever. It feels like.
Why are we suddenly calling people leaving teams die? That's sort of dramatic.
No,
we've
I
done it.
mean,
His
no, he
career,
doesn't
yeah.
die. He just won't.
Yeah, but
He's
we've
been
been using
alive
the-
forever. Is my point.
We've been using the term "die" for people leaving teams for this entire podcast. Like Golden
Oh
Zera
no,
died.
wait, actually,
Wasn't
he
he
was
on
on
Complexity?
Epsilon. That's what I was thinking about. Yeah,
Yeah, he was on
I got
Complexity
my
as well.
teams mixed up. He was
But I
on
think,
Complexity, but
Epsilon sort of built this endpoint, though. I think
that's what I mean. Yeah, he
Yeah.
came from Epsilon to this team.
it
is
was
what I forgot.
him, Robin, and Crucial. I think.
Robin.
Yeah, they were on Phoenix for a second. Remember that?
Shit team.
They were on Phoenix for a solid 3 months, less. They had Juan Flatru. and Spellin and Barbar and what the fuck?
What a team!
Jesus criminy, they had a lot of
What a
players,
team.
it seems.
They had a little elephant.
They had a little elephant. Well,
All right, we can
anyways,
transition.
we move
Speaking of
on.
replacements, to Movistar riders who dropped Steel and Shocks.
yes, so
So
now they're
what do you
remain
guys
with
make of that?
Mapaz, Alex, and Smuya for their last three.
I have no clue about this one.
Yeah.
I don't know what they do here, honestly. On
I don't
my
know. Yeah.
on my dream rosters page where I just come up with random bullshit, I had two players that I thought they could add. It was either Mudaris and Just to keep it Iberian, because Mudaris is an in-game leader and he's been actually fragging better than he has like ever, and he's in-game leading, which is very questionable to me. I don't know what he might be calling around to make Saul work like this, but that's a move you could make, and Just has been fragging. And then the other one was Chris J and Dennis.
No,
Wow.
that's trash. I was hyped for like 2 seconds, but then like, no, that's just bad. I'm sorry.
How is it bad?
I don't see how. I don't even think like Dennis was already playing in this range of team. Like Dennis is not going to be smurfing in this team. I think it's just going to be bad.
Right, but what you need is a
Chris
support
J-
player and an in-game leader, and you get both, and you get a second opper.
But I mean, Smoothie.
Yeah. Okay.
But I'm saying, what are your other options, man?
I think they've got some good shit. Like I don't know what it could possibly be.
What the hell?
but,
Don't say things like that. You can't say things like that. I'm gonna discredit everything you just said, but I've got no
Pure bait.
actual.
That's
Yeah.
pure bait. That's pure
Don't
bait. He's
put
just
us
baiting.
in-
He's just baiting. He's just baiting.
No, all right. So
He's just baiting.
I mean,
There's nothing else.
okay, it could work. It just sounds weird.
Chris J is fine. I like Chris J. I like Chris J being on this team. That's all right.
Well,
I'm
mean,
not sure-
You
I'm
need
not
a
sure
support
about that.
rifler. I don't know who else you could
I don't
reasonably,
fucking know.
without digging through the dirt that is Spanish CS right now, below that level of Saw
Yeah.
and.
They all I know is that Smuya was unconfirmed, all right, and they asked him, "How are you feeling? When are you starting practice? You know what's going on?" And he was very happy, and I assume he knew that Steel and Shocks were going out because I think that happened like the day after. So, I mean, he was pretty fucking excited to start playing again, while on a roster with only 3 players, including himself. It's
So
like
is that just Smoothie being Smoothie, or do they have like something lined up that we don't know about?
I
Or, like,
I think they have
discussions
something
going
lined
on?
up.
They're
I
not getting any Iberian players if they aren't on Saw. That much I can confirm to you.
yeah,
I
I
mean,
don't
I
I
think
don't think they
this is
can
pretty
get
much-
Chris J. Because money.
Well,
I
Chris
don't
J
know.
said he signed to a contract recently, didn't he? Didn't he just like days or weeks or like a week ago say something along the
Who?
lines of like some kind of bait?
Probably bait.
He just
Well,
needs
I
the
mean,
clicks.
Twitter
Just
was-
needs clicks.
Twitter was pretty much like baiting this past week. So like, who knows?
Expect the unexpected. Well, I mean, other than that, I'm not really sure what you could do.
Fucking
Honestly,
automatic
truthfully.
tweeted expect the unexpected as well.
Unless like MSL scooped up Smuya somehow in hell, like they decided to make that work, and that's what he's talking about, and he's just baiting like, oh
he
yeah,
could've
I
got a
can't
new
wait
team,
to get
yeah.
started. Yeah, it's very possible that all of this falling apart of
Yeah,
Movistar gave him an out.
in fairness, when they asked when are you starting practice, he said I don't know. So-
LOL.
That's why he's so happy. He doesn't have to prac.
yeah, no, but like okay, I don't think they can give Chris J because of money. I mean, didn't he turn down FPX
Yes.
because they didn't settle on a salary good enough for him?
Something like that, yeah.
FPX are rich. I don't think Movistar are that rich.
Yeah, Movistar's definitely not that.
Movistar is actually Movistar is actually very wealthy.
Really?
As far as I'm
Not
aware,
bigger than
yes.
FPX. Maybe FPX.
Not
is
bigger than
just-
FPS, but definitely wealthy. I think.
Okay, what
Last I
if
heard.
Movistar was willing to spend more than FPX? What if that was the issue that FPX
I don't know
just
about
wasn't willing to
no
spend
that much isn't true. I don't think.
no.
Not that
Then
much.
who
But they
fucking knows?
definitely have at least enough money to throw around, as far as I'm aware.
Hang on, Movistar Riders. Their main sponsor is Movistar, right? That's an actual company by
Movistar,
itself.
yeah.
Yeah.
Who
Movistar,
are? Hang on,
yeah.
they seem like. Are they that big a deal?
Oh, they're like a decently big.
They've
deal.
got some bang to their buck.
Yeah, I was gonna say they seem decently wealthy. It's just it's a company who mainly operate primarily in Spanish-speaking countries, so we
From
probably
Spain,
don't have
yeah.
that much familiarity. I think they're Argentinian, but whatever. Like they
Well,
might have some
I'm pretty-
foreign money that we don't know about. Like that richest guy in the world at one point, who's from Latin America, who I'd never
I'm
heard
pretty sure
of.
there were I'm pretty sure I saw some Movistar ads in Mexico too. Yeah,
So
for
yeah,
sure.
they might have baller money. We just don't know about.
Yeah. So in terms of who they pick up, I'm not really entirely sure past that point. But what I can say is that the two players that have been dropped are already both at least somewhat linked to a project in some capacity. And we'll start with Steel, who we believe may seeing how the timing is lining up, be in the new project with Case Esports, which has Coldzera, Fur, and Zeus rumored to be joining them.
Oh
with
my god, we're
3
talking about
player
Coldzera.
slots left to be. Yes, we are talking about Coldzera on the ColdCast, guys. You finally made it to that segment. We've made it.
We did it.
So, how do we feel about the core of Coldzera, for Steel, and Zeus? And who are the 2 other players that you guys would add?
I just don't want them to be like okay. I don't want them to be okay. Let me put it another way. I'd like them to be at least like 1, maybe 2, like up and coming rookies.
Yeah.
Because I think the veteran aspect of Coldzera and Fur, with like young like up and coming like talent, I think that would work out. But like having like a team of like all like veterans, I don't see that work.
Yeah, speaking of young talent, I want to add someone here. Who was on the previous Kase roster. He always stood out to me as Kase being the shittest team known to man. This old Kase roster. Just to remind you, it was DZT, Landin, Nissim, Jeps, and Delboni, and literally they played in Europe for their entire stint. They were dog shit. They played 110 maps, and Nissim was the only one who had good stats. I don't think there's any way. He's 20 years old. He was like 1.13 or 1.15 rated across the entire run of this team. Everyone else was dog shit. He's not opping. We talked earlier about like riflers
He's
being
not an
good on a bad
abuser.
team. Like he's good. He's really good player. He played in like this is not just like South American stats. Sorry, South America, but you suck. This is European stats. Like this is South America or this is European stats. This is like this guy was good in Europe in a shit team. That's
Dude.
like
Nissim's
not
good.
right.
Nissim was all right in that Case team. I'm going to call him Case. I'm sorry. In that Case team, Nissim was all right. Like he wasn't earth-shatteringly amazing like the next coming of Jesus, but he was passable and
Yeah.
not
Dude,
a, not a
Malbs
waste.
to Movistar or to this team, I forgot he existed. I'd be fine with Malbs.
Yeah, I'd be.
Oh,
I'd
it's
be-
because he's not verified
I
on
would-
Twitter. That's
I
why.
would definitely be good with Malbs.
Yeah, let's add Malbs and Nissim to this team. They won't have an opera, but who cares? Coldzera can.
I pick Try and
Oh.
Malbs now. Try and Mal. I've switched to Malbs.
Okay.
Try.
Way to
ruin
Try.
90.
I know that.
Like that would probably be.
You know, Try like 30 bomb against Vitality on land. Try
That guy!
Who?
Remember?
How is he 16? He looks like he's already been convicted of multiple things. Like, how is he 16?
He's 17 now.
Whatever.
turned
He looks like he's
So,
on
yeah.
a registry somewhere. Like,
Yeah.
how is he
We
16?
get Try, Malbs, Steel, Coldzera, and Fur. Close case. If we don't get Malbs, we get Max. And
I mean, it's still
call it a
terrible,
day.
but it's not as terrible as
What
the
the
initial
hell?
3 sounded. I'm sorry, Steel, Fur, Coldzera, you had me sleeping. Like, I was not
Damn, bro.
buying in. Add those 2 guys and make Coldzera forget
And we
that he's
can talk about
Coldzera.
it.
Maybe we'll talk about it, yeah, but just those 3 as a combo? Nah. I'm just not a big fan of these ex-superstar Brazilian guys.
Damn,
Speaking
dude.
of Try and Max, they have a game today, and if you have the time, I think you should watch 9C play because I want to get your thoughts on them. I'm personally a big fanboy, so I'm like biased, and I want to get like some unbiased opinions on 9C. It's on HLTV and everything.
Oh, they're playing against Furious, right? Is that the game you're talking about?
Yeah.
That is
and then
Furious, not Furia, by the way.
Yes,
Next up on the list, though, we've got the finest rebuild, as they had a couple of players come in and out. They finally seeming to be settling upon the 5 of Anarchaz, Fates. Thank you. Mar, Shocks, and Kriaz. Not the Shocks from Vitality, as we were talking about, but the Estonian Shocks instead. There's not really a whole lot to say about that team, in all honesty, because there's not really a lot known about them in general, other than the fact that they have names. Anarchaz is a name. He's done things. Fets is a name. He's done things. Mar was good at one point. Kriaz, people seem to like that guy, I guess.
He's
Mar
good.
is good.
We didn't. And
Don't you dare
Shocks was
shut
good at
up,
one
Kriaz.
point, and then kind of shat the bed in Movistar. So, could be
Yeah,
good.
no, I just don't care
Could
about
be,
this team.
could be nothing.
These guys are all typical finest players. Like even if they're not even on the team yet, they are typical finest players. They're just like those like pretty good tier 2 players who still can't really catch a break, and they're like somehow they just end up on finest, and then inevitably it's not going to work. I'm sorry.
I'm incredibly indifferent about this org,
So
let
am
alone
I,
these
yeah.
5 random players. I really do not.
Kriaz
That's all
though.
I have to say.
Kriaz though.
Don't even care about him, mate. Not Swedish.
Don't care about Kriaz either.
Kriaz is little creams. Come on.
Not Swedish.
Yeah,
Don't care.
Yeah, little crims, as in like crims is 0.97 stats right now. Yeah, make those less. little crims. But we get to move on to near the end of the roster moves.
I just want to say I have a fun thing about Fates. I
whoa.
think Fates is the player who has played had the most nationalities as teammates. That is just something I know
He's
about.
played
Fates.
in every continent.
Well,
Yeah, he's played in North America or with North America.
North America, South America, Europe.
I think he
Asia,
stood in for Renegades once. He's played with
Yeah.
Australians as well.
so
Asia,
Oceania,
Africa.
Oceania.
Yeah.
Africa
everything.
he did. North and South America, Australia. I guess Antarctica doesn't.
I
really
guess
count.
Fates is just Pitbull. It's just Mr. Worldwide.
Wait, if he's gone to fucking North America, South America, Oceania, Africa, and Asia and Europe, that's like all the continents.
That's what I
right?
said. Yeah, he's been to every
Yeah,
continent other than
all the
Antarctica.
continents.
Yeah, those are all of them.
All right.
Yeah, but then we move on to the big rumor mill that's been going around. The North American expect the unexpected rumor mill that no one really seems to have a very good grasp upon, but everyone also seems to have a very solid source about something that's happening, but not very solid at the same time. Anyway, Floppy being the topic of conversation out of the gates is the first player from Valorant to hint at a return to Counter-Strike. And as of the last couple of days, there's been rumors of Cloud9. There's been rumors of Bad News Bears. There's been rumors of now Extra Salt, and Quack seems to have something on that. So if you would like to speak,
It's
on
just a
that.
murmur. It's just a murmur I've heard that Floppy has signed on to join Extra Salt. That's the rumor I've heard.
In place of
Okay, and who
I
could
don't
he
know.
replace?
No one knows who he's replacing. Like, let me just go through the list, okay? He's not replacing JT because he's calling. He's not replacing Sonic. Not OC. Also not Sonic. Sonic is good.
Well, no, he'd be replacing Sonic
No,
before he
Sonic
replaces
is
Fang or
Sonic is
Marky.
like the X factor in the team.
But you
like,
can't
I think-
replace Fang. You like physically
Yeah,
are
Fang-
incapable
you're not
of
replacing
you can't
Fang.
replace
Not replacing Fang.
and you also can't replace Marky.
No,
Yeah,
Marky
that's-
becomes the odd one out for me. Like, I don't want to replace Marky. I don't
so
think.
Floppy's
I don't.
entry fragging. Or...
No, I don't think it's weird. You need to shift the roles in that case. He doesn't fit. I don't know why this. I just heard
Yeah,
this.
he's like a support entry, also anchor. I know on Inferno he like plays
Just replace Sonic.
No,
Why?
bro,
The ginger
Sonic's
power.
good. Don't underrate Sonic.
Fuck
Put
Sonic.
some respect on it. He's like an X factor. He's secondary ops, and he's like good with it. Like when I notice on a lot of T sides, like OC isn't feeling the ops, so like on it, Sonic takes it. Like I don't see Floppy like coming on to Extra Salt, and like the only person I could see him replace is like Marky, but that still like doesn't make too much sense to me.
Let me
I
be the
am-
easy-esque of this real quick. Sonic overrated. All right, continue. Fraud.
All right. I do have another point to this though. He might not be replacing someone on Extra Salt out of necessity, or like out of being a better player. But what if someone has picked up an existing Extra Salt player into like a proper good team?
What if Fang has been picked up?
Yeah,
by
Fang would be the
another
one I'm
team?
saying.
What if
I would
Fang
be very
hypothetically went to a North American team in struggles right now and no one said anything?
That's
about
not
it?
specific. Like,
That's not
EG?
specific at all. Sorry, guys. That's all I got.
Yeah, it is pretty specific. There is one North American team in struggles right now. It's EG.
No, okay. Am I the only one that wants to see this fucking roster stick together? Because I think they've
Yes.
gotten that.
Yeah, they're really good. They're really good.
Yeah, like you got fucking OC, the fucking op abuser of NA right now. You've got Fang, who, when FunSpark ulti happened, he was the only non-CIS MVP of 2021.
Cheeto
I'm not
Abraham
sure if
Lincoln
that's
can
the
take
team.
his leave. I'm okay with that.
Then you've got fucking Big Brain JT and Sonic from South Africa representing, Sonic being the X Factor. You've got Marky, who I really don't want to replace because he's like the only Mexican player who's a pro, and that makes me very sad.
Get
he should
Shooty
be
up
here
in
just
here,
to
bro.
fill the fucking quota, all right? We need a Mexican
And
on
then
a good team.
you've got TC, who like has a PhD or some shit. I don't know. I'm probably
looks
fucking
smart.
speaking out of my ass.
Who?
Yeah, but yeah, he definitely looks smart. So I think they could be like Gambit youngsters in the sense where they just keep on grinding and getting better, you know, and like I think they could compete against Europe's like best
Do you guys-
eventually one day.
Did you guys see
And they beat
sorry.
Liquid, bro. Like they're better than Liquid.
Did
So-
you guys see the tweet that Elish put out the other day and then deleted about like, oh, I'm so pissed NA players have no motivation to win? It was like out for just a couple of minutes then deleted. I just saw a screenshot of it.
You guys want to
Oh,
know
shit.
what my problem with this team is, though? The Extra Salt team? My problem with the Extra Salt team is that this same core, this same formula that they've been working with has been at this same ranking since December of 2019. This is the reason why Cloud9 dropped them is because of stagnation. The reason why Extra Salt picked them up is because that stagnation is fine with them. They don't have any profit to be made beyond what Cloud9 was already making at a loss for Cloud9, but not Extra Salt. And my problem with this team now is looking at this 5 and looking at this core and still waiting to see where OC gets sent to somewhere else where he may be able to succeed. Or maybe Fang gets that. Or maybe JT gets an in-game leading opportunity somewhere because the in-game leaders aren't working. But my issue with this team is stagnation. And I'm seeing that still in an era where they should not really be hitting that stagnation.
Okay, but like they did good in CS Summit 8.
No, yeah, I'm not
yeah,
saying it's
yeah,
bad. No. I need you to
No.
listen before I go on.
Okay,
They're
okay,
not bad. I'm saying that they aren't getting any better and have not gotten any better. Their good
But-
results are still the same good results
Is
that they've been
that
for a year.
is that like their fault or circumstances with like NA kind of like dying a bit? Because like there's not like if they were in Europe, like boot camping in Europe, learning from European teams, playing in European events, they would probably get better a lot quicker, right? Like in NA, there's like
No, I think that's a
ESEA
fair
Premier
point. That is a
just
somewhat
playing.
fair point.
I think
they
it's a
felt
fair
like
point, but I think
DreamHack
it's
Open.
I think
I
it's
mean-
also a fair point to say that they also shouldn't be sinking below where they have been for the last year in a region of weak teams. Where they are.
No, but
They
if you
are
look,
doing
if you
that?
look at the games
mean-
they've played and the results they've had recently, they're not exactly fallen off, and they haven't actually competed
They
at many
haven't
big
fallen
events.
off. That's exactly my
Yeah,
point.
but the point is they have no real opportunity to grow into a
Yeah.
better team ranking wise
agree.
or any other way because they're not facing Europeans constantly. They're not getting to play consistently against Europeans, which are, let's be real, the good teams. So we just need to. I think if this team waits it out, they could have an opportunity to become more than they have been for 2 years. Because this exact 5 hasn't been together 2 years. You know,
No,
it's just
right,
been the core.
In Premier, if I remember correctly, in Premier, they won every single one of their games except versus Choco Czech, which they had to forfeit because they were still in Europe. And then they got fucked by Team One.
All I'm saying is that I remember
Right.
them playing in that IEM summer event and dog shit.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Did they
dog
play
shit.
IEMs? Oh,
Yeah,
well, they got
obliterated.
dismantled by G2 in Inferno.
They
which
got
is
put in
like-
the dirt by G2, and then they got made look like fools by Astralis that had no offer.
Okay, but it's still Astralis, right?
You're still
I
talking
get-
about G2 and Astralis, comparing
Yeah.
them to Extra
Yeah,
Salt.
Imagine
No,
that's
yeah.
your welcome to Europe. You got what was it G2? That G2 roster had the full combo. Yeah, it was Nico and Hunter. Nico dropped like 25 kills, and then you play against Astralis, who are the kings of dismantling people who aren't playing proper Counter Strike, and you're coming from NA. Like this is
Yeah,
about as harsh as
yeah.
it gets.
You have a point with the stagnation. I'm not sure this Extra Salt team
You
can
do
go
have
any
a point.
higher.
How long into the foreseeable future can we see this team going up? I don't know.
Okay,
how
I,
much
I
longer
don't
can
think
see
they
them.
can. I think
Okay,
they're
they
there.
did.
But I'm saying that
They
the
won-
players aren't getting any younger. Like they don't have time to be waiting around to see if this 5-man can make it any much farther. So if I'm OC at the ripe age of 22, at the best that I've been in my entire career, I'm probably not going to sit around and be like, well, no, yeah, we might be able to boot camp in Europe next year. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but
Here's
who
what I
needs
want
those?
They
to
are
do
going
earlier,
for a European tournament soon. They won DreamHack Open June against like second place was Oplano, who everyone's like hyping up. I don't see. I mean, yeah, they're like good, but I don't think they're like as good as people make them out to be.
Well, if
they
But the
camp in
important thing about winning DreamHack Open June is that they're going to IEM Fall 2021,
Right.
which could even be online, but I don't know.
I had a
I
point I
don't
was going to
Aren't
make earlier.
even in Premier or Pro League? Oh my god.
What
Okay,
if
but look,
what if
I
Extra
want
Salt-
to make a point.
Okay.
When they played against Team One for that Pro League spot, and Team One just like peaked at the right time. like one of their bottom fraggers had like 100 something ADR. Like everyone was fucking going insane. I think like consistently, Extra Salt are better than Team One, and I mean they didn't get robbed because Team One. I mean they beat them. That's how it goes.
Wait,
but
I'm
like,
so confused.
Right, that's not really the standard we're measuring though. Being better than Team One isn't the standard we're trying to aspire to here, Coldy.
yeah, no, I'm explaining about Pro League.
Wait, why
they
did
aren't
Extra
there.
Salt pull out of Premier?
I think
Did they?
They made playoffs and then pulled out. Why would they do that? Why would they get rid
I
of
don't
their
know.
only chance at playing consistently? And
I was gonna make another point though. So like, there was an Elish tweet where he deleted
Oh,
very quickly
yeah.
after, which was about like, oh, I'm so sick and tired of NA players not having the motivation to win.
wait.
They just like want to make money, and there was all that shit. Then he deleted it. It was actually real. Like I saw it.
I looked at the wrong season twice, by the way.
Here's the thing, though.
Back, by the way.
What if that tweet is spawned by, I'm thinking, either Stewie or Grim quitting Liquid, and they brought up Fang into Liquid? What if that's the thing? And then they need a new rifler to come in. Floppy's coming in. Like maybe it's not, Extra Salt being unhappy with one of their players. Maybe one of them just got poached by Liquid.
I could see that happening. No.
All semblance of logic, all the nuances of that point that could realistically happen. It's not ridiculously like stupid, that idea. It's pretty good. And then just but fuck Sonic though, innit? Fuck Sonic.
Yeah.
All
right
of
out the
it
window.
in the
Here we
bin.
go.
Fuck Sonic.
Sorry,
It's
guys.
not even
Sorry.
fully related. It's just fuck Sonic.
Sorry, guys. Just had to let you know. Had to let it out. Thought it was an important thing to clarify.
Yeah.
Anyway, though, we have a little bit more than that in North America going on. On top of that, we've got the rumored return of. I say rumored. It's very loosely rumored, and I don't think there's much basis to it. Automatic. Making a possible return. Tarek on the bench currently of EG. Rush on the bench of Complexity, and the rumor mill says that Cloud9 is looking to rebuild with a formula that they've seen before. What I've heard at the very minimum is Tarek and Floppy. I've heard that they want Tarek and Floppy, and then from there they'd like to build what they'd like. Junior was at one point a part of that discussion, but I'm not sure what the whole issue with Bad News Bears now is. I'm not sure if that throws a spanner in the works for them. Maybe they're waiting until after Pro League now. But what do you guys make of that?
I think this is the same thing as the Turkish thing about like Sangal and all that. I think people are just seeing like, oh, we have these players available. We can fantasy
Hash them
pick
together.
Yeah, we can just like, hey guys, wouldn't it be fun if this was a thing? And then someone goes, yeah, I'm gonna make a rumor that is a thing. Like we have a lot of fake rumors now. Like
Yeah.
all of the good leakers just sort of fucked off.
Decay fucked off.
Yeah, Decay became an agent, and Nell is like doing only French shit and Valorant. It's just Tommaso, and he mostly does Brazilian and Polish shit. So
Yeah.
like,
So we only have Danish CS:GO leagues now.
See, the rumors honestly had me when they said Floppy, Rush, Tarek, Junior, and Automatic in terms of like believable, like okay, like that could be
Yeah.
a team because
Yeah,
it all
that's-
fits.
That's
It
5
does
players.
all fit reasonably, yes, and those are 5 enough players to fit into a server. But then Junior makes his leave, and then I'm like, okay, in my head, did they get OC? Probably not. Did they get Cooper? Probably not. So that there really goes that whole concept for me.
The real solution.
What
Cooper
is
switched to
Wardell?
Val, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
Cooper
Wardell.
switched it on.
Yeah, Wardell takes a step back and says, guys, I'm going to Cloud9 Counter-Strike, guys. Rose is coming with me.
Automatic is doing okay. I was about to say, like, I don't think Automatic is coming back. Like, that's my thing about this.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, I think Automatic was just baiting. because
Yeah, I
it's
think
funny.
it's yeah.
I don't know how okay is when Curry is your team's in-game leader. But
He's on. I mean, he's on T1. I mean, he
Yeah,
has
that's
a
what I'm
right.
saying.
Who I do see coming back is Floppy, because didn't he like not play like a single game with like Cloud9 and now he's benched or some shit or something like that? I don't know shit about Valorant.
Well, I know he's not playing for Cloud9's Valorant team anymore. I can.
I
tell
see
you that.
Floppy. I see Floppy coming back. That's about
Yeah,
as
that's
much as I
nice.
see.
And I hope he does.
I see him pairing up with Tarek and Rush. That would be fucking sick. I honestly like. Go back to this. What if Stewie is on that team, and
I
then
don't think so.
what if?
And then-
And then
okay,
Fang
okay.
is on Liquid now.
Okay, yeah, Fang to Liquid, and then we got Tarek, Rush, Stewie, Floppy, and then you just
Sonic.
and then
All
Sonic.
right, guys, hear me out. You want to hear my crazy crackhead fever dream concept that isn't actually bad, but it will never happen?
Can't be any more retarded
Go for
and
it.
outlandish than what we've heard so far. So
That's
go
what we
nuts.
learned.
True.
Yeah.
That's honestly so true. So, hear me out. Vanity leaving B1. Vanity
Oh.
rumored to be joining the Cloud9 Blue roster for Valorant. What if in the Curveball universe they sign him under the guise that he's playing with the Valorant team? They bring Leaf, Floppy, Zeppa, and Vanity to Cloud9 CS and then add Tarek. Oh my god. Could you imagine that? That would
So
be
it's like
sick.
Chaos Reborn under the
Chaos
Cloud9 flag.
reborn from the fire, from the ashes. And that's actually a much not better. I wouldn't say better, but equally as good with better potential than the last Chaos.
Yeah, because the only player you really switching out is like
Marky for
Marky.
Tarek.
Yeah, which is like an upgrade.
Yeah, Brazilian
And
CS
Floppy
beware.
for John G. So I think it'd be really fun, and it's a crazy fever dream idea, but
Yeah, and it's never gonna happen. But
and even
it's
if
nice
it
to
doesn't
imagine.
happen in CS, we're gonna get Vanity, Zeppa, and Leaf back together in Valorant CS anyway, or Valorant CS, Valorant
Yeah,
Cloud9
I
anyway.
don't care.
Yeah, I
So,
believe it's Weeb Counter Strike, but yeah.
Yeah, same thing, close enough.
Obligatorily have to shit on Valorant SCS players. Now
Yeah,
that we got that out of the
Cartoon
way.
game.
It's in the
Yeah,
contract.
and now we can move on to the topic that we labeled so fittingly roster moves that would be cool.
I mean, we've already
It's
kind
not.
of been
It's
talking
not just
about
been the
it.
entire show. It's just been
Yeah,
what
that's pretty
if.
much all I've been thinking about.
Let's do this. Let
What if?
me just go to my dream roster page and I'll read them off, and you can tell me how psychotic I am.
Oh, before
tell you
we
now,
do that,
no, you're
Junior,
crazy.
Junior to Bad News Bears, That's,
Junior
like,
to
good,
Bad
right?
News Bears. He's already. I don't know about likely, but
because he's I mean, he is standing in
more
for,
than possible.
Oh, he's playing right now.
Yeah, like so he's definitely an upgrade over. I feel so bad. I don't remember his name. Who was hopping? Oh, Peter. I'm so fucking Okay, Peter.
Peter was
I'm
actually
sorry.
banging. To
Yeah.
be honest, I agree that Junior should be better, but I think Peter was kind of banging for a 31-year-old on that team. He
Oh,
was
yeah.
kind of banging, bro. I'm not gonna
He
lie.
was.
I don't think Junior was ever like a bad opper. Like
No,
not
he
even on
wasn't ever
Fury.
bad.
But
He was just
Junior's
putting-
being reunited with Sheikh Sola, who like
Yeah.
Shixula.
brought him up.
Shixula.
So like, I think that would be cool.
The
Yeah.
big thing on Furia was like his big shift in roles, because under Sheikh Zula on Triumph he was like this aggressive opper, and on Furia he just kind of slotted into Henny's passive op, like passive op sort of slot, and that's like it's a complete polar opposite, and that's like it's never gonna work to like swap an opper like that without like significant preparation. So like being back on BNB, that's pretty cool. The one thing that worries me about this move is that BNB are looking for an org. They're asking for nothing, and they still don't get an org. I think they're asking for $2,000 each.
That's worrying.
Yeah,
That's very worrying.
they're asking for $2,000 each as a salary, which is like pretty cheap. And now they also have Junior, who is on a something length contract. I don't know how long exactly. With Furia, that's going to be like somewhat expensive to buy out. It's I don't know. I don't see BNB want an org. I don't see them getting an org with Junior.
Really? Damn.
No.
I don't know.
Unless they fucking win EPL, then no.
I've heard some other rumblings, but we'll see how those go, I guess.
Okay.
We'll see. All right, pull up your dream roster page. Let's see your.
I've realized that we've talked about literally every single one of them up to this point.
All right, sweet.
Oh, good. You are insane. Okay.
Yeah. Well, you're all insane with me. So
We have
somebody had the thought before me, and I just built off it. I'm just the crazy guy who follows the crowd of crazy people. So.
Yeah, you're not uniquely
Alright,
crazy.
so-
And then every now and then I hold up a sign, and then everyone's like, "Yeah!" And that's it. Oh wait, I've got one here. I've got one. Forest, Heap, Lekro for Dignitas, minus Freiburg plus Dennis, minus Hauser plus Knock. Full
No.
Swedish.
no
team.
minus Hulzerk. No,
No.
don't minus Hulzerk.
Well,
You
but
haven't-
then
you
Hauser
haven't
goes and
improved
replaces
anything.
Gratisfaction, and him and JCam destroy everything. That's the asterisk to that.
There's the even crazier part. No, this I don't think that improves Dignitas. Honestly,
No, I don't know.
I think they'd like stay at like.
How does that not improve Dignitas? Their worst performing player is gone, and their in-game leader, who's calling them into a fucking brick wall, is also gone.
I just don't think
The guy
it
who's
improves it.
usually supposed to be the entry fragger is at a .85 rating on their team. Oh my god, Freiburg is just god awful.
Maybe I'm just hanging on to nostalgia then.
I think we may be, because Freiburg
Yeah.
sucks. Freiburg
He
is terrible.
sucks. He sucked for years. I don't think this actually makes the team any better.
How? How does it not? I don't
I just
understand.
don't.
What's the
Just
facts
don't.
and logic?
You're replacing Holzerk
I mean-
with Nork, which I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not one of those few people who seems on the planet who doesn't like Nork. And then
Okay. If you say Dennis isn't better than Freiburg, then I think all hope is lost, because Dennis is
we're talking
performing the best
we're
that he
talking
has
Dennis
in...
double N Swedish Dennis.
Oh yes, oh
Yeah,
yes, we are
no.
talking about him.
No thanks. I don't see it as an
I'll
upgrade.
take him every day of the week. Oh, I love that.
We have 2 more points on this talking points thing. The first one is EPL not being held on LAN, which like actually, that's not much of a talking point. It just isn't.
Just
Yeah,
everyone
it's
just,
just like-
just F's in chat. Isn't it?
It's
Yeah, can
just
we get
so
F's in chat?
sad.
Just
Like, I was
F.
so hyped for EPL on LAN, and then, man, fuck
Yeah.
COVID. Honestly, this is some bullshit right here.
Yeah, but it's not
Yeah.
much of a talking point.
talked. There we go.
We have we've been going on we're approaching 3 hours here.
Yep.
Yeah, but
2.5
we're almost
of
done.
actual
We're almost
podcast,
done. We're
but yeah.
almost done.
Do you guys
Yeah,
want
we
to do
had,
some
like,
predictions for EPL then?
Yeah. Let me just
Aw.
pull up the Where the fuck is it on Twitter? The fucking the groups?
group.
Or
It's on HLTV.
It's just on HLTV, man.
fucking open this.
I'm gonna predict this right now.
Yeah, go Group A. Who's your number 1 team out of Group A? Because I think that's the toughest one to call immediately.
Yeah, I don't even have a top
Especially-
one.
Somebody
2,
said they
3,
need
4.
somebody. Somebody said earlier they need somebody to defend their points, so I'm not. If you think that Dennis isn't better than Freiburg, then you can shove it. Straight up.
You can
Look
fight
at the
me. I don't
statistics,
care.
Look at the mid-round
I don't
calls.
care.
Look
Don't
at
care.
the performances.
Both washed, both
Anyone on
garbage.
Earth.
Both washed,
Both
garbage.
washed, both garbage. Better of two evils. I'm taking the one with a
Nah.
0.3 better rating.
No, thank you.
My pick for number 1 in Group A is Heroic.
Okay.
I take Spirit.
I like that as well.
Yeah, I take Spirit as well. I think Spirit is a dark horse in this group.
I mean, we're not playing on land, so I'm going to take Heroic. Honestly.
Yeah, that's my point as well.
Hey, but what
Group-
about
Eh?
Heroic? Doesn't even have a coach anymore, do they?
They have
their
a
sports
Robel.
performance guy.
It's fine. Their
Robin.
strats are their own, so it's all good. Like, no one else has access to it.
Group B, G2 for sure.
Group B G2.
OG.
Yeah, G2.
I'm taking OG.
Sinners!
Yeah!
Let's go!
A man's pick.
Neofrag,
Yes.
best player at this tournament. Let's go.
Oh,
But I think
Yeah,
Yes,
I think
correct.
Sinners can actually make top 3 of this group.
yeah, they can
Oh,
make
yeah.
they can make top 3.
I don't
They
even
just
think it's
gotta
that much of an upset.
beat
They're a
Renegade.
cohesive unit who play great Counter-Strike. OG and Complexity have been a bit all over the place.
Yeah, both of those could
Consistency,
just go
so
in
Virtus
one
Pro.
series.
Renegades are Aussies. I mean, it's fine.
Bro, Oscar redemption arc.
Wins EPL with this
Um,
team. Oh,
I don't even need to ask about Group C because I think all of us agree that Navi are going to win that group.
Yeah.
Fanatic.
And then Faces gonna
that's,
do well.
that's a
They-
ballsy pick.
oh, wait.
That's a ballsy pick.
I'm doing
think-
it. I'm going it for. I'm not picking the obvious pick for any one because what's the fun in that? So I picked Spirit, OG, and Fnatic so far.
Wait, who was it? Who was it here who think Big are going to be good? Just
Me.
wanna- Who'd you pick again?
Yeah, let's...
For this group, I think Navi.
Navi.
Big are not going to be that good. They're going to be good.
Yeah. And then for Group
Oh.
D,
NIP.
NIP.
I mean, it's online again, so maybe Gambit.
Yeah, but
Oh
NIP
shit!
are also
It's online.
Okay. Well, that's like kind of a boring pick. So
But NIP
For
are
more
also onliners, so like you have 2 on.
Entropy. I pick Entropy.
yeah, I'm picking
Entropic.
Entropic as well. That's like a juicy pick. Elian will just smurf on everyone. He will drop fucking 30
Yep.
bombs every game.
Yep.
Entropic easy top
You'll
one.
prove all the
Yep.
Shiro haters right. Is that what you think?
No, I'm an NIP fan. I have to pick NIP. I have to pick NIP. Spirit, OG, Fnatic, NIP. Those are mine.
Right.
Yeah. Those
We
are
have one
good.
more talking point that I want to talk about because this is about.
Nope, sorry, we can't.
Okay. We have.
We're out of time.
Speaking of big lands, we have fucking. Nobody really knows what the fuck is going on with Major. They're
Yeah.
like talking about it. Sweden's like, I don't know, is esports really a real thing? And then
It's like the only thing they're still
Major's
good at,
like,
but they don't want to do it. Like,
yeah, it's like the one thing they're good at, and they're like, no,
Man,
but
we just
like,
took like 6
is it
Olympic
really
golds. What the
real?
fuck are you talking about?
6. Oh,
And
sorry,
then
sorry.
The,
Never mind.
the one fucking thing that I like, I really don't like is that people are. I've seen some people, and I think Nip's kind of like pushing this angle a little bit of like, oh, fucking uh, PGL doesn't want it to be in Sweden, and they want it to be in Romania because that's where they're from. Like, I think that's just
They want it to
fucking
be in Romania because that's not a fucking pain in the ass to organize.
It's
yeah,
not a
exactly.
socialist hellhole. Like,
Yeah, the thing about the major being in Sweden is that it's not going to happen because this relies on some restrictions that are due to be lifted mid-September, actually are lifted. Except they probably won't because COVID is escalating in Stockholm right now, and like unless things turn around sharply, like in the next week, they're gonna push forward the lifting of the regulations, and that's gonna be too close to host a major. Like if they want a crowd, it's gotta be outside of Stockholm. Like there's no way.
Because from what PGL said is that what they like want to like, it has to happen. It's like a full stadium, right? That's
Yeah.
what they said.
There's
Yeah,
no
so-
way they would agree to host the tournament without a crowd because they're just gonna make a loss.
Yeah, so fucking it's probably gonna be in Romania, but I fucking
Wait,
hate the people
outside of
who are like
Sweden?
saying it's gonna be Romania because of fucking.
What?
Let's bring.
You
you said
MLG
outside of
Columbus
Stockholm,
back,
right? You
guys.
said outside of Stockholm.
Yeah, right,
Inside of
outside
Sweden, an option? Okay, because
Yeah,
I was about to say,
outside
like,
of Sweden.
no one cares about the people of Malmö, so you might as well do it there then. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's just
Let's
Denmark,
bring,
but it brings in
let's
taxes.
bring
Like,
MLG Columbus back. I think we can agree.
Oh yeah.
MLG Columbus, or just MLG. MLG I thought was a really cool production that I thought could come back, and that'd be really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, at this point, like, I don't want the major to be in Sweden anymore because I think the government's been fucked enough about all this entire thing. They don't deserve to have a major in Stockholm. Like,
Yeah, you know what? Like, fuck you, Sweden. Like,
Yeah,
you don't want
anarchy.
to fucking like get fucked.
anarchy in the SWE.
What I do feel bad about is people who were like, oh shit, it's gonna be in Stockholm. I gotta get the fucking flight tickets before they're too expensive, and now they're just kind of fucked.
Oh yeah, I know people who have already booked hotel rooms and everything.
1 IQ people.
So that's what I feel bad about. But like, also, you should like be a little bit smarter and be like, yeah, with COVID, who the fuck knows what's going on? I'll wait a bit before it's like confirmed. So like,
I think there's no way it's gonna be held in Stockholm. Like unless you know everyone just decides to go get vaccinated right now, even though they've had like a month to do it. Then you know
not happening.
it's too
Well,
close.
We can dream.
And
We can hope.
It's sad because like, you know, Sweden, super like good history in Counter-Strike, the first major back on LAN. It's gonna be in Sweden, and Device is gonna be playing, and Device
be
is on a
so
Swedish team, and all the fucking Device fans are gonna like be there, all the Danish fans.
No, don't bring
Yep.
up the Astralis fans. Don't bring up the Astralis fans. I don't want to hear about them. I don't want to hear them at all. Let's go, Astralis. Let's go.
Yeah, they
Fuck
had their
off.
time. We're done with them. Yeah, they've
Yeah,
had their
fuck-
time. We
fuck
gave it to
Astralis
them.
fans,
We were
but
we
but
gave
they'll
it to
still
them.
be there.
They overstayed their welcome and became like Patriots fans in the Americas to football teams and football fans out there. They became those.
Oh, hang on. Let me get
Or
my
the,
Edelman jelly.
or the Cowboys even. If
Yeah,
you want
fuck the
throw
Cowboys.
them in
Oh
with that.
man,
I still
Yeah,
have an
I'm a
Edelman
Cowboys
jersey.
fan.
We're not hating on the Patriots too much. Like,
Yeah. We'll go switch to the Cowboys then for that sake.
Yeah,
Then.
fuck the
But
Cowboys.
that brings us to the end, pretty much. We have some thanks to give out though towards the
yes,
end.
we do.
we do.
Cody, you're the host. Do it.
I don't know. Okay, so I want to thank first off T because he's producing this. I had no idea this fucking like whatever the fuck link we're on even existed. Like I don't know how the fuck this shit works. So I'm really grateful that like T helped make this because without him it wouldn't be possible. And like
Thank
he's
you,
been in
T.
charge of the production. He's doing like great. So thank you, Button Smasher Extraordinaire T. And then, of course, for the graphics, thank you, Merzak, because like this was like really like short term that we like asked for this,
Oh yeah, very
and
very
like
short
he,
notice.
he
Yeah,
got it
Yeah.
out fucking quick.
Yeah, he banged it
So,
out in the space of hours. That was
huge thank
legendary.
absolutely
Huge
legendary.
thank you to him. Absolute legend, right?
Yes.
And then I know we had our tech issues at the start because of my shitty internet and phone,
Yeah.
but we got them fixed. I think it was a very successful pilot. So I want to thank you all for joining me in the ColdCast. It was really fucking fun.
Just
I'll put
absolutely
it that
fuck
way.
me and Quack, I guess.
Okay.
I mean, Quack doesn't need to get thanks. He came out with some too much absolute wild nonsense today to get any thanks. Like, Quack has been.
Well, I'm here.
We
The
said
big
we're doing the
take.
podcast.
Okay,
We're doing the podcast 21 CEST, and he still managed to get fucking high on crack in that time between his work ending and the podcast starting.
Close it in.
So okay, I'll thank you. I'll thank you, Tony, because like
Yeah.
you were always like really,
Yes,
Just
and, like
absolutely.
you were like one of the people who supported me when I just put in fucking general. Yo, what if we make a fucking podcast?
Oh
Wouldn't that be
yes,
sick?
yes,
And
that
then-
would be sick. And here we are now.
And here we are. We did it.
Look at us.
And
Who
then
would have
Quack,
thought?
of course, because originally we had Excel, but Quack, like a god, stepped in, of course.
Like a god.
Pog.
Thank you.
So
Like
thank
gods
you.
do.
The only
The
person-
divine intervention.
the only fucking person I won't thank is me, because for the first
Is
time we were
me.
supposed to do this, I was asleep.
Yeah, you were asleep.
That was so
And then-
unbelievable.
And then this time I fucking showed up late, had tech issues. So fuck me. Thank all of you.
Yes.
And
Can I give some
obviously-
thanks?
yeah, go
I
for it.
want to say thank you to Gunnarsson.
Gunnar,
He's been in chat
Gunnar.
all day and he's very nice reading messages. He's been spamming.
Oh
Ludwig
wait,
Gay
we
Pride.
have one more piece of news to share before we head offline.
Oh God, do we?
What's the news?
Guys, I heard that there's been a signing in the caster universe. I heard that there's an up and coming
Hey.
caster who's just been signed.
Yeah, we have
to-
Quacky T joining Vandals as their
No,
official
okay,
in-house
how do I
casters.
remove
Oh
this?
yeah,
How do I remove him?
congratulations. Let's fucking go.
Yeah.
So,
But actually,
obviously-
I got signed to LCA.
Yeah.
Oh,
More
oh,
importantly,
yeah, I saw-
Tony
I
got
saw
signed,
that
but
too.
you know,
No, fuck
Quack just hijacks it.
Quack just hijacked
That was intentional.
my moment.
bro, fucking everyone here got signed as a caster. What the fuck?
All at the same time. But yeah,
Yo,
I
it's
mean,
Team
we can
Sexy
close it on
Voice, isn't
that
it? It's
note.
Team Sexy Voice. That's
It
what
is Team Sexy Voice. We did make Team Sexy Voice. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's the
So,
episode, pilot episode under
Yeah.
under
And,
wraps.
And
one last thank you
congratulations,
to everybody who tuned in. This has
Yes.
been the ColdCast. It has been our pleasure, and we will see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Adios.
Adios.